Hey everybody, it is Cinnamon Cooney, your Art Sherpa, and today we're going to be painting this gorgeous Autumn Witch's cat together in acrylic on canvas. This is a painting that's going to be broken down step by step. I'm going to explain every tool, every color mix, and every technique. So it does have a higher Hoot rating for beginners, but that's because we're using some extra materials and some unusual brushes, and also because I think there's going to be a lot of layers to this. To help me do today's class is my husband, John.
Hello.
He is going to be stuck here for the duration while we paint today's painting. We're going to be sipping coffee and talking about life, and I am going to be showing you guys how you can really create this for yourself at home. Now, if you feel like you're not creative or you can't do this or you have a lot of statements that you have creatively where you're like, man, like I would love to do something like this, but I'm just not capable of it.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is that most of art is a learnable skill. Most of it, like almost all of it. There is some magic last thirds, which is what we call talent or originality or having voice. But really, most of it is just about learning the skills. And while I know that there's more work in this painting, also there's nothing that's really so complex that you can't go from a 2-hoot place to a 3-hoot place pretty easily. Like you've been introduced to these ideas and you've been practicing them for a while, you'll be able to do this. Either way, even just watching today, even if you're like, I'm not ready for this kitty, I'm doing last year's Halloween cat, that seems like my level, right? You're like, I'm at last year's Halloween cat, maybe the year before, maybe just the black cat face, half black cat face, that's where I'm at.
Right.
I have a lot of black cat, a lot of witch's cat. Wherever you're at in this, you're still going to learn about the medium, the technique. You're going to be here with, let me put on my live chat. You're going to be here with this fabulous live chat. If you're here for the live chat, be sure and put your questions all in caps. Now, I know a lot of you guys are discovering me through Facebook or different places. The AI recently has been suggesting me a lot. So, well, I have been here for 10 years, so I am a trusted resource. It's so nice to hear that.
You have a track record.
So we have new people coming in. All caps here is not yelling. It is asking a question. There are moderators here. They're called butterflies. You'll see wrenches next to their name. They're actually not here to be art cops. They are here to be hosts, and they help you guys find resources and make sure new people feel encouraged. You'll notice that they'll be very like reaching out and helping. So if you're like, who is this butterfly and why are they helping me? I've actually asked them to do that. They come 3 times a week to these long live shows to do that. So this is them volunteering their time. I wish I had pay everybody slay money, but I don't because I'm not on that good vertical on YouTube. I don't know, done makeup or the all evil kid vlogging.
I don't know.
There you go.
I'm into the kids show stuff.
No, I like kids shows. I just don't like kids on shows. You know, I have a strong, this is a rare place to have a strong opinion. I don't think kids should be working, and I don't think they should be working in YouTube. I don't think it's safe or advised for them. So that's a strong opinion I have if you care. You probably don't because you came to paint this cat.
But I think kids on Sesame
I think they
Street
care, like, stop talking and teach me how to paint this cat.
Well, possibly. But it's your show, so you get to sit here and talk about all the things that you want as long as you want to sip your coffee. But
as long as look, you want me to sip my coffee, this is going to keep me together later, right? All right, so today I have an 11 by 14 surface. This is a stretch canvas. I'm using the Art Alternatives Economy. So this one has a little bit of the inner ridge that I have to think about. A lot of times on a less expensive or economic canvas, they won't do as much hand tooling on the stretchers. So that's just something to think about depending on what you're using. I have the colors Ultramarine Blue, Dioxazine Purple, Quinacridone Magenta in the paint I use, which is Acrylic by Sennelier. That's called Quinacridone Magenta Deep. I have it here. I don't even need to wonder. I can just pick up the tube and go, oh, look, I didn't even get it right at all. Quinacridone Fuchsia.
Oh, which one is it? What number?
It is 671.
Okay, if you go to our website, you can get that one.
Yeah, it's there for sale. So if you wanted to buy.
Plug.
Cad Red Medium, also there. Zinc White. Now, I'm using the Golden Zinc White. I like that one the best. This is a transparent, non-staining white. It's like pretty fantastic. I've got Cad Yellow Medium, Phthalo Blue, Phthalo Green, Yellow Ochre, Burnt Sienna, Mars Black, and in the center is regular titanium white. I'm also going to be using Gloss Glazing Liquid. I'm going to be using my Golden Fluid Acrylic in white. This is a jar of water. I get asked this every time. Like, what magic medium is clearly in there that makes your paint last so long? Nope, this is just a jar of water. And then I'm going to be using mops and grainers and round blenders, and I will show you each thing and tell you exactly what it is. Everything I'm using, yes, it's available in my store, but keep in mind, I try to work with products that are quality and available globally, so you should be able to find this wherever you are at I don't know, what are reasonable prices anymore? I feel silly even saying reasonable prices, don't you?
Yeah.
Oh, let's take a deep breath, sip our coffee, and throw up a step. Now, I like to break my paintings down into steps because these suckers can be big, and this will let you find your place again later. These are time-stamped, and you can just scroll up and down the bar and be like, I was on step 3, and find yourself again. So that's a nice thing when you're doing multi-day projects, because while I'm going to do this in a sitting, guess what? You don't have to. You can just take your time and enjoy yourself. Now, I have to think about what I want to paint the background, and I'm thinking I want to paint the background maybe in a rich, dark color and then build back light from that. So I think I'm going to do a dark chocolate brown. And to get to a dark chocolate brown, I'm going to take my handy dandy, really cool artist knife. This is one actually for painting and mixing, and you'll know that because there's a bend in the handle. When it's just for mixing, it goes out straight. Though you can paint with those too. Nobody will stop you. Nobody will come smack it out of your hand. I'm going to take my Mars Black and my Burnt Sienna together. And I'm going to mix a deep chocolate brown. It's about 2 parts brown to 1 part black. You can just do this with a brush too. Though at the stage where you're doing 3 hoop paintings, you will want to invest in some artist knives. And remember, they come in plastic as well as these lovely metal ones from Italy. So, though the ones from Italy, I love these so much. The RGM from Italy, they had the color on them and the little squiggles. Reminds me of the comet. Like a comet. So, well, I don't know. That's how ancient people said there was a comet that hit the world and flooded us.
There was a snake in the sky.
There was a snake in the sky. So that's really cool. That's a good one if you're looking for a recommendation. I have that. Now I'm going to take a nice big brush. This is a 30 millimeter number 30 Textura Raphael. So it's just a nice big wide brush with a synthetic filament that I can paint the whole canvas a dark tint with. Now, if you don't want to draw the kitty, you're going to use a traceable, and I'm going to actually show you guys Cerl paper today. I've been getting a lot of questions about tracing, and so I thought, oh, this is a great one to demo that and go over that again. I think I need to fix this table to my table.
Oh. Remember, we were going to
Another thing that I can do to make it easier to paint out, and this is a weird trick, but you can miss the canvas when you're doing one of these grounds, and it will help the paint go far, so you don't have to use so much on an acrylic ground.
That gives it a little more
fluid
to just
yeah. Now, I've been hearing a lot of artists talk incorrectly or misinformed about underbinding. And so underbinding is a real thing that happens in paint. It's when the acrylic polymer has so much water in it that it doesn't stick to the surface. Now, Golden Artist Colors did some studies on that and found that the threshold for underbinding in pro paint, they didn't go test craft paint, friends. Pro paint was that you could add a lot of water to it, and as long as you gave it enough time to dry, the pigment would then adhere and still stick to the canvas. There would be enough polymer left, even on a wash like this. And so some artists read that article and are like, oh yeah, that's definitely that. But they didn't specify that that is not every polymer, every acrylic, everything. So I'm only mentioning this because YouTube tells me who else my viewers watch. And sometimes I will go see who that is. And, you know, because it's like, you should find out why. And so I'm like, okay, I'll go find out why. And I was like, oh yeah, that's a really good artist. But I did notice that bit of information. And I was like, oh, hey, that's true for artist colors, really good polymers with really good paint. That would not necessarily be true for craft paint. I would still be concerned about underbinding with craft paint until I had tested my paint in my environment myself. Do you see that? That's just a ground. It's streaky. It's just a tint. It's just a color. It's not like such a big thing, is it?
Just kind of get some background, huh?
Yeah, I might even add some more brown here and a little more energy. I just feel like I could use a little more energy down here. Look at me go. Just wanted some more wealth. Now I'm gonna... That's pretty wild, isn't it? That's all it takes to start that out. Can you buy your canvases pre-tinted or stained? You can. You could do that if you felt like it.
Yeah.
Or you can just do this. Sometimes you get such a good deal on the high quality color gesso canvases that they actually end up being a steal and are worth getting. So keep your eye out for the black ones at Michael's and the different colored ones at different art stores. Because a lot of times those will be at the 75% off and the quality of the canvas is like next level. So check them out.
See, I'll go back here. See, Andy, I noticed. So you were asking. Oh no, not Andy. Alicia. Sorry, I'll got my glasses on here. Alicia, you were asking about the edge of the canvas. So, what you're seeing there is a little bit of the top edge of the canvas, just because of the way that she has tilted her surface, and it's just a sort of an optical thing here. So, in general, if the top edges or the side edges of your canvas are not, you can see that paint line, you can paint around the edges, but sometimes that can cause paintings to stick in a frame. So if you're going to frame it, it's better to probably not paint around the edges, but if you're just going to hang it on the wall, you can paint all the way around the edges, and that won't be a big deal. If you're having trouble, with the paint sticking to the edge of the canvas, that probably is a canvas-related issue, a mechanical issue there. We'd have to investigate one on each one, but in general, a lot of times a frame is designed to overlap the edge of the canvas by about a 1/4 inch, so it ends up hiding a little 1/4 inch edge of where the roll of that wood frame is. So a lot of frames kind of hide that behind there. So just as an element to consider.
Yeah, just go around those edges, and if you paint all the way around the sides, it's easy to restretch, and you don't have to frame. So that can be a nice option too. Let's sip our drink. Let's think about what we're doing. Oh, we're painting a kitty today. We're going to paint a little witch's kitty, and it's going to be our best friend, and we're going to love it so much. And it's going to have, are you ready for this? Tortitude for days.
You were definitely under the cat spell.
I was super under the cat spell. That's a true story. I was under the cat spell. Now, I'm going to show you how to use Cerro paper and a traceable to transfer a line drawing onto your canvas. And philosophically, I want to talk to you guys about something. I'm kind of baller in that I will just sketch right on the canvas with paint. Fun stuff for me. I just go for it. And that's a good thing for you to learn to do. It teaches you to be confident in your marks and all of that. But the truth is, in real process, I sketch in a sketchbook, work out my designs, my drawings, a lot of that stuff, turn it into a traceable. I might do the sketch digitally and then turn that into a traceable and then put it on my canvas. And I think I got in the habit because in watercolor, you don't freehand on the paper unless, you're at that stage. Yeah. You work out all your sketching beforehand and then put it on the paper because the erasing messes with the surface. So, in truth, even if you want to freehand this, I would actually do it on your tracing paper and then put it on because you can work out the whole drawing and not have your whole painting be messed up by a drawing mistake you made early on. Now, this is a product called Cerro paper. It is for transferring an image onto an acrylic surface. That's what they make, and that's why they make it. Now, the first thing I do is I like to take my traceable and kind of place it where I feel like it's going to be at, and I'm thinking here. Right, so I'm happy with the placement of my yellow. You want to put the yellow, the bright, see how there's a difference brightness? That's what makes the mark. It's going to be a light mark. It isn't going to show in your painting. Why am I not worried about the whole cat not being on the paper? Well, I don't like to tile my printouts because they get thick, and because we use a very thick paper in-house. So what I do is I just up the size, and it does take some of the image off the canvas, but it allows me, notice I'm taping at the top and the bottom, right? It allows me a little bit of flexibility in having larger images that I don't have to layer and triple thick up and everything. The other reason I'm fairly confident in this or feel okay about it is that I can freehand all this out, so that does help me, and I know that that's like part of the sketch being missing for me is not stressful. I'm like, oh, I'll just put that back in. I did it the first time, I'll do it again. It's totally fine. But for you guys, you may find I'm going to put this off sides, right? Okay, now I like to use a pen with color, and the reason I like to use a pen with color is so I can see where I've already gone. And because this is live, you get to enjoy to see me do this real time.
And while you're doing that,
let's take questions.
There's a lot of interest in.
Can you guys see how I'm doing this? I'm using just a red Bic. Oh yeah, Bic pen. There's a lot of interest in
this painting.
Yes.
Yes.
Ask me all the questions. I have all the answers.
So, do you think we're gonna have any prints or swag or other stuff available?
Do you guys want that? I could do that after the show if you guys want that.
I think that they would very much like that. If after the show you could go, put some swag stuffs.
I could do that. I could head on over to Teespring. Teespring.
We've got a couple options here. We'll check all that stuff out after the show.
Yeah, you know what? I have half of mine to have my mom do my merch. Make a cute little purse.
Have to check all that out.
Yeah. Well, that's the nice part of having family and what you do.
But
just come here. Yeah. This is a chatting time. So what I would suggest when you're doing your traceable is just be comfortable. Right? Yeah. You don't have to have every line I put here, and if you're easily confused, you may want to just do the contours, but I put every line here that I did because I want that information later. So that is the big thing I want you guys to think about.
Nothing you need to.
No, it's just going over the lines and just making sure I'm pressing. The thing that's always stressful is like just checking.
Seeing if it transfers to tentative peel.
Yeah, man.
And this is one of those things you don't need to feel bad for using the traceable at all.
No.
It's a total tool.
No, because you should be using one anyways, even if you freehand your stuff. What you should have is a sketchbook where you put your drawings or your lines, your design ideas, where you work that all out there with pencils and erasers and all that rethinking stuff. And then when you perfect it, then you can use tracing paper to transfer that image onto anything else. If you're a very clever person, you will get a photograph or digital version of your line drawing, and that way you can take it into a digital space and resize it, change it, alter it. None of that is cheating. Those are all just art processes. So say you have a picture of a cute kitty in your life. I'm not telling you my design process. I might be. So say you have a cute picture of a kitty in your life and you like everything about that cute kitten and you took that picture on your phone, but I don't know, it was a messy day at the house and your laundry's out and there wasn't anything else about that felt like a painting, but you're like, man, I wish that was a Wish's cat, right? You can take that image and you can use it and sketch out, use the kitten as just the reference, and then you can sketch out or design out the other environments and then put that all in a digital space and finish that out.
Dude, that's pretty cool.
Using your own cat. None of that is cheating. Like, I absolutely work from,
components.
Well, no, like I'll put like a bird in my digital thing and I'll paint over the bird.
Sure.
The reason I don't teach digital painting is this is not exactly what I'm doing.
Well, and honestly,
I can, but it's not exactly what I'm doing.
We focus on teaching beginners.
Yeah.
And that's, to get you guys painting, just to start painting is such an investment in time and energy and curriculum design.
Yeah.
It's got to be limited in some way. So.
Well, this is how I would do either way.
Well, yeah, no, yeah. But it would just be very hard for you to come up with curriculum for doing everything in painting and then also do it digitally because.
Oh, no, there's no way.
Yeah, using a tool.
What I have is a lot of workarounds.
It's using a tool is different than teaching a tool.
Oh, that's so true. And I do sometimes I go into like spit paint and stuff, and like they have like a lot of rules, like you can't import photos and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
That's because, man, they don't. Right? And I've done that there, and I've made the challenge several times. I'll just put this. I want to say I have some pumpkins. I will sketch those in later. Let's really hope this transferred, because it's going to be a big day if it doesn't.
Over 300. Hello, everyone.
Hello! All right, so now I'm putting that away. It's light, but I can see it. I can see it, so we'll be okay. Okay, so what I have here, and John will zoom in, but you can see I have a very light image.
Oh, yeah, we can see it.
Now that is just going to vanish the minute I go to paint, isn't it?
Yep.
I have to take my jacket off.
That's right.
You may have to read.
Oh, it's okay. Yeah, I'll take a jacket. It's okay. I had to mute her. I had to mute her so that so I'm gonna come over here to the side while we do this and go. Whoosh. Where did it go? It went right here. Whoosh. And that should be able to go back about the same place.
Yeah, it's got hot. I was cold earlier, and now I'm hot. Stupid temperature that I want to be.
Okay, there we go.
I don't know.
I think you're okay.
But the mic
went
is way up
backwards.
here. I have it on backwards. And we don't have a show for how to wear your YouTube mic for a reason.
We don't teach how to YouTube because we barely do it ourselves.
This is a true story.
Like.
Now, we should probably put up this step where I'm going to sketch this in, because that's all going to take it. This is going to take a minute to sketch in. And I'm going to use like a little angle brush. And that's just so it gives me some control. And I'm also going to use a detail brush. I'm probably going to alternate between these two. I'm not sure. And I'm not going to do, I think I'll go, can you see black on the canvas? Okay. If you guys can see black, then I'm going to do my little outline in black. Now you can see real quick why I don't consider the traceable cheating, because like really fast, you're going to see that as you paint over these lines, what happens? They vanish. You're putting them back in later. I'm just trying to get the big structures, the ears. I might only need to do this. This is a number 6 Raphael Sepia. I'm using black paint because he is a dark kitty. And yeah, I've got a light background that I'm going to be working out. So that will keep him showing for me. I might have got a little puffy on that side, but that's okay. I just sort of sketch in loosely the little paws. Little kitten paws are sitting there. Get a little hat out. Gotta have good hat, man. You gotta give good hat when you're doing a little witch's familiar. There's no rule. You don't have to anything. Don't panic. And then we've got some nice little, which I'll be painting in later anyways, these little leaves. I'll probably put those back a different way. But I know that they're here. Yeah, tell me, because I've got this long, like, sketch in, sketch in. The sketch in is a long and arduous process.
So thank you, Ramona. He says, I simply love everything Cinnamon and John, everything Cinnamon, John, and the mods do. Everything is here as a blessing to my life with a cute little, it's a sparkling heart emoji. So thank you, Ramona.
Thank you.
So generous of you, and Angie Mack earlier said, great to be here. I'm feeling chilled already. And she sent some wonderful things.
To chill, isn't it?
And Grumpy Bunny has been a member for 32 months.
Grumpy Bunny, thank you for hanging in with us.
Wow. And Heather C., thank you for the cute emoji earlier. And the bug, thank you as well.
Well, we're going to be here together, or at least I will be here today with you for a while, and then you may be here with me for a different amount of time. Somebody wrote me, and they were like, this took me 3 days to watch. And I just sat there, and I thought, this beautiful human sat with me for 3 days, listening to me drone on about art. I'm like, that is like their commitment to painting. Next level. Thank you so much. I was like so touched and honored. I was like, I don't even want to listen to myself for 3
So
days.
here's the thing. I have the privilege of listening to every drone you make.
Every drone you make. Every stroke you take.
There we go. Some derivative of a painting.
What is wrong with me? I don't know.
You enjoy what you do, so
I do. I'm just kind of getting in some
I
last
see,
little sketches. I just want to know some things, and then I'm gonna
dryer
go.
in one hand, so I got my finger on the mute because I know she's not even gonna warn me. She's just gonna turn it on.
I'm gonna do the dryer now.
So always, that's the other thing is we'll start stopping. So as you can see, we don't have a whole lot. There's not a whole lot else to do but this. So sort of happy that you guys are here joining us. We really appreciate you guys being here. Yeah, and you guys, we're and I appreciate that, Virgo. We miss the dancing too. So one of the things that we're going to be doing much more of is trying to reclaim who we are as Sherpettes and Sherpazoids and Sherpa peoples, all doing this, climbing up the art mountain, helping each other there, kind of figuring that all out. That greater life challenge. We're just a lot of us are here to just sort of help each other, and I think that's kind of awesome. Cinema and I are very privileged that we get to be here a lot to show you guys art stuff, and we hope that can remain a constant in our life because we love doing it.
We do. We love you, and we love doing this. Got my little Doctor Who on with my Totoro. I'm all mixing up brands today. I need a coffee heat up.
That's okay. You know what else you need? A Step 4!
Step 4! Because we're going to do some more.
Oh, heat your go while you work.
Go we. I'm going to talk a little about blending while John heats my coffee. I want you guys to think about this a little bit. So in the blending, I use a tool called the Princeton Select Oval Mop. Before that, I use the Ultimate Varnish. They're really essentially an oval mop. It has a nice kind of almost filbert rounded kind of face to it. It's got a nice thick rounding through here. Synthetic filaments. Now this brush company makes like a natural hair, goat, and a synthetic. The natural hair and the goat are fantastic when you're very skilled with your mops for blending with a dry brush. If you try to use them wet, they do this thing called foaming. It's a whole thing. You can get around it, but it's just a challenge. The synthetics are not as prone to that. So that's why I like to use the synthetics. And you know it's the synthetic. I wish it said it here or it said, which filament it is, but it doesn't. So the one you're looking for is the one that goes rust brown to the dark tip. Now I have that on my website, but Princeton's a huge brush company. They're everywhere. So you can find them. Like Raphael, I use Raphael, huge brush company. Now I'm getting my brush wet. I'm going to go ahead and sort of dry that off. And I will take this moment to put out my gloss glazing liquid. Talked about that earlier today. Now remember, what is this? This is a slow drying extender for acrylic colors. So it's not a retarder. A retarder I don't do with beginning students ever because that is a medium that does not dry. And you add it in specific amounts to your acrylic paint to slow down the drying time of your acrylic paint. If you over add it, the whole painting won't dry. It's tacky. I don't mean like it's like in bad taste. I mean like it's a dust mop. So I don't do that with beginners because the fail rate is too high. When this came out, I was like, this is the best thing ever. It's a slow drying extender. So it slows down the drying time to increase blendability, but it's a glaze, which means you don't have to be specific with the amounts you have mixed in. So you can tell it from my titanium white. It's just a little flatter and a little milkier and a little like less vibrant, and like this is like just a little less vibrant than this, and I'll let you know verbally when I'm going into it. I use this, it has just changed my everything. The other thing I'm going to use for blending is this Mr. Bottle of water. So these are not, you know, like overwhelming things. So it's damp. Let's go ahead and get some little black and brown here, but mostly black. And I'm going to come from the bottom. I'm going to paint up here. I don't want to go too far up into the cat. I'm just going to be down here. We're just doing the background around the kitty.
Thank you, Angela.
I'm going to put out some more brown. All right. Another thing I'm going to show you. So see my brown? I got to put out some more brown, but it's like a hot mess right now. So it's hard to squeeze out.
What is that tool?
This.
He's like, we found that when we went. Now okay, I'm going to warn you guys.
You have to stop here.
This is the
stop before the cap goes bloop.
And here's the thing, it builds pressure.
Yeah, this is called the Big Squeeze. I really like it.
They make multiple colors. They're a really good company. We like them. We're hoping to become better friends and see if they
let us do a distributorship of it because we love it.
We want to carry that stuff in our store. We think it's good.
We think it's fantastic. But see how that just made my tube usable again?
It squishes it all up. Now here's the thing: if you over squeeze, it will pressurize the tube.
It will.
It may not be enough to blow the cap off, but as soon as you open it, it may just go like an overpressurized tube of toothpaste.
Now I'm going to go over to my glazing medium, and that's just going to help slow down the drying time of this brown and black paint here, so that I have a little longer to get my blend in. I'm going to come up the sides. Now I'm going to get, interestingly enough, notice that I'm getting the zinc in. This is my zinc white. It will lighten the color, but not change the color as significantly as titanium white will. So that's why I bother with the zinc. Okay, I'm going to rinse out those colors, as you do. You got to do it. You got to rinse it out.
Yeah.
Just, you know, it's a bummer, but that's where you got to go. Now I'm going to take my yellow ochre and a little bit of my glazing medium. You see I go right into the brush and right into this color.
This cat's where it's at.
And I'm going to blend into here. A little zinc white. Just pulling that up a bit. And you can see that I'm getting very blended on the canvas. These transitions are subtle transitions. Little blending medium, maybe a little come into that. Little burnt sienna, little yellow ochre. And go right up into the cat, right? So that my layers are nice. Keep enough information to know where my I'm very light with this brush. And you can see I work it in through areas where I want better transitions. And then I'm going to come through here. Just probably yellow ochre because it'll be easy to pull up from there. Now I'm going to get a little of my titanium white. Little glazing medium. I know that I'm going to need the blue up here, so that's why I went into this light color, so I could come back with the blue very easily. Now, where I'm having trouble with that blend there, see it's a streaky, I can rinse out very thoroughly and try to dry off and blend. And if that doesn't work, then I've got to use a dry, soft brush.
And that's why you keep those spares around.
That's why I have those spares around. It is good practice to try to stay within one brush. if you can, but if you can't, you can't. And
You know what I
that's just
think?
where you are. So you can see I wipe off on my towel.
Personally, I think that you should go to theartsherpa.com to our store and get as many spare brushes as you can.
You don't need to do that. If you watch this video, you have done enough. This is a big boy. All right, so you see I've got that lighter there. I'm starting to get the glow around him. He's looking very good. Let's rinse out. Rinse out. Now, I'm using a bucket that has 3 containers in it, so I'm always working into clean water, and that does help me. And isn't it amazing how much there's already a glow? That's what's so incredible about this, is that there's already a glow. I'm going to sip my coffee and then take a question, and then we'll dry it and go on to the next.
All right, let me.
I don't know that you have any questions. You might not have any questions.
Now, you talked about how many hoot this was, because Virgo asked
3.
that.
It's really 4, but we'll call it 3.
Yeah, Karina said she's super excited to see this, been waiting for this, and yeah, if you guys want to customize this to be your own cat, of course you should be doing that.
Please do. We had a bunch of people customize the good boy in autumn. Just recently, the border collie holding the leaf. A lot of people customized. A bunch of people had border collies who were like, yes, and then a lot of people customized for their personal dog.
Now let's go back. Who was that? Who said that? 'Cause I want to make sure I catch it. I want to say it was Inventory Full. They're like, do they have something like this for toothpaste? And actually, I think that's where this kind of, yeah.
Yeah, the guy. There's a cool story to this one, isn't it? Because his dad invented that, didn't he?
I
believe this man's dad. It came over from Gill, which is the old tube crimper that I had, which was an industrial tube crimper. And yeah, his dad invented the one that was like for toothpaste and hairdressing tubes and stuff like that, just metal tubes with a ring on it. It was metal. And then a bunch of art companies made them, but they were like plastic and junk and they would fall apart on the tubes. And so my mom and I went back to the original metal ones, which I have here somewhere. It's like a big press. And it's handheld, but it's bigger. And then I saw him, and that turned out it was his dad, and he solved the tube wandering to the side and something else. And he does really big with, if you have somebody who works in hair salons, this would be a very good gift for them.
Yeah, no, yeah. There's a wonderful history on tubes.
I'm gonna dry while you tell them the wonderful John, my dove, my darling, my beautiful one. Why don't you explain the wonderful history of tubes? Enjoy your tubes, your tube talk while I dry my painting. Tube talk.
All right.
Tube.
They say the internet is just a series of tubes, but that's besides the point. It used to be that tubes were made, that most of the stuff that we now think like toothpaste and paint came inside a metal sleeve tube. It was just a real thin walled pipe. Some of them were actually lead and tin or contained lead because it was very malleable. And so there's lots of history around tubes and the various metals that are used and the coatings that came from them. But ultimately, it was the way that we put stuff in disposable packaging for a very, very long time. And a lot of them was metal tubing. It was out of this metal tube, and they could be crushed and rolled. And so there were these keys that you could put on the end of them that were sort of this round thing that had a hollow center that would slide on it, and then you could turn it and it would wrap the tube up around it. That's a lot of what toothpaste ended up using. And the one that you saw, that crimper, those were that were more professional, and kind of the reason why that you'd say that is that they crush all the tube all the way together, getting all the material squished out of them. So they're very efficient, but they're also more complicated and slightly more expensive to make. So if you have a 3D printer at your house, you can certainly go online, probably to Thingiverse, and find a paint tube key that you could print out. But a lot of times they're given away also at different places. Actually, not anymore.
I think you liked my...
Oh, I may have. I remember back in like the 80s, like we got a toothpaste key from Welcome Wagon. Who came by?
I'm stuck on this thing, Dave.
Oh, you're now.
I'm like stuck.
Oh no, I'll get you. So, but I
got wired in. Okay.
Oh, this thing is locked on you.
Yeah. I don't know what that was. It usually opens just fine. It just was like, not today. Acrylic paint has gotten in here.
Let me get you
No, I'm okay. I just gotta,
New step.
yeah, give me a new step.
Because you're going to talk about something
Oh,
serious.
now it doesn't want to go back in
I
either.
know, it was really weird. It's back to null. You want me to do it?
Yeah.
It was being obstinate.
I repurposed it for my own things. So what you saw me having there is a artist tool. I give this or some version of this every time we have our retreat, like, because sometimes they just get sold out. But generally it's like a little pocket wheel, and then a grayscale, a value finder, and then a color wheel, like when you need to make. I always have a color wheel, like when I'm making color charts and thinking about what I want to do in a painting. And so the color wheel, sometimes if you have a color wheel that's small that you can bring around your painting, even when you're new to art, you can start to see like, ooh, these colors might be very exciting here. So if you're wondering how these decisions get made, a lot of times it's there. And then this helps you figure out, because the number one thing in art is value, right? Like, so how to get a light enough value in your paintings, light and dark enough value. So that's why I have that there, and I'll show you how to use that as we're going. We're going to be adding some glow, some zhuzh. Are you ready for some zhuzh? I'm ready for some zhuzh, I'll tell you that right now.
The cat shall be judged.
The cat shall be judged. I still have my 1-inch oval mop. It's so fantastic. I like it very much. I'm going to come here and pull out a little bit of my ultramarine blue, but I'm going to grab some of my phthalo and I mix it in. It almost makes me a cerulean blue, which I like very, very much. I'm going to go ahead and get a little glazing medium in that, and white. I'm going to just see how this, let's look at this brush stroke. So it's not just blending. There is this brush stroke that I'm working on. What you're seeing me do with my brush looks like this to the canvas. See me change directions? Look at how that works. Not pressing very hard. So, and I'm on paper, which is like, could not be thirstier, so I'll have to reload and everything. But do you see how that brush stroke is done? So that's the kind of wrist motion and hand motion that I'm going to be doing throughout this particular piece. I'm going to go a little more into my ultramarine blue. I'll let it have a thought there. It needs to have a thought. I don't want to get too wild, too more forward than that. I'm rinsing out my brush. Now I'm going to go ahead and get a little of my cad red and my cad yellow. And then some zinc white. Glazing medium. And we're going to start here. And again, just the corner of the brush, painting inside, working out this background. This ephemeral error, like really lovely. Sometimes I'll just get some glazing medium so that I know everything will go further. So there's lots of ways to blend in acrylic. I have videos about it, all the ways. Lots and lots and lots of ways. There's glazing, there's dry brushing, there's wet into wet, there's value transitions. Just bringing that over that way a little bit. See how that just adds some light? Bring a little bit back in. Bring a little yellow ochre over there. A little white. And you can see I'm just very light about this. A little more red to kind of pull in that orange. And you can see this background is just coming to life. I'll take a little brown over to my red. I grab a little yellow. See how that's weirdly, it like almost feels orange, but really it's just an oranged brown. I think that's wonderful. And I'm just very loosely working that there, layering that up. Now I can go right back in. Like I'm going to grab some black and some brown. I haven't rinsed though. That's one of the other tricks, is having a kind of continuity in the brush of color. And to tell you right now, this brush mimics the impasto brush on Sketchbook and Fresco very well, like the oil texture brush. It was like, you know, other than the never getting muddy, never having issues in mixing, because digital space is clearly got different laws. I'm going to go more into my glazing medium.
This is the first time you've painted this particular cat.
Well, in acrylic.
In acrylic.
In acrylic. So does going here and doing this digitally first, like, there are things that are similar, and then there are things that are very, very different. And finding ways to correct for the things that are similar and different is probably the challenge of using this as part of your design space. That would be what I would be thinking about. Add a little more black here, and you can see I'm doing just the same thing. So I've done these, but I wouldn't necessarily be able to do the layers in the same way. Right? Because once this background layer is dry, we're done with it. Right? I can't lift through it and go back and make an adjustment. Does that make sense? So in digital painting, every layer of painting, you can go back and infinitely edit. You can undo, you can go back, you can make a mistake at the beginning and then later be like, technical term. It's not faster for me. It's just, what's the word I want to use? I'm adding a little brown into this and grabbing some little medium. It's something I can do watching TV and relaxing, and I can change my mind. I can go back and visit something from years ago that are saved on the cloud and like use a new, like the texture brush didn't exist anymore. Oh, my little one. This is how bad I am. Everyone who does digital does this, except, I don't know how to do it. I got to learn how to do this. Luna comes by and is like, you can make your own brushes. She's like, here's the 100 I made last week.
Just like, what?
She's like, this brush does hair, or this brush does fur. I'm like, do you want to make my brushes? No, you need to learn to do it for yourself. I love my kids. No. You gotta get independent and work it out. I'm already eating your coffee. So you can see I'm just pulling that moodiness, aren't I? That atmosphere, that drama for Mr. Kitten, I already love this background.
I do too. I think it's really cool.
I love it.
Everybody's here is loving it.
I love it. And I haven't even gotten serious yet. Now, interestingly enough, I could keep working this wet into wet, but I would be picking up these layers as I go, and I actually want to glaze into them instead of blending wet into wet. So I'm going to dry everything.
Yeah.
And then come up again. So I'm really going to be playing glazing and wet into wet. So it's like oil technique, acrylic technique. Oil technique, not that you can't glaze it in oil, you can. But the fact that I'm doing it this fast is unique to acrylic.
Yeah. Oh, hold on a second. I'll get there it goes. I thought that was working earlier. Yeah, that's right. So, yeah, guys, this is really pretty cool. It's a cat, and you could customize the cat to all of your liking. And what she dropped. I'll fix. Just set it down. I'll fix it in a minute. All right, I'll have to remove the neck thing for her. She said that is what's getting in the way of it. And so I'll remove it. I'm trying to read over here to see how things are going in chat. Looks like you guys are having a pretty good time. If you haven't joined us in chat, you should. It's so fantastic to be here, hanging out with people, doing that kind of stuff. It's actually really kind of nice being with everybody. So I really should consider, if you haven't made it by a chat, do. It's quite, oh, it's quite painted.
Yeah, like I messed it up. Just go put it in sink and water. All right. So this here is the great
Hold on.
finder. And what I can do.
Okay, wait, tell me again.
No, I don't need the.
No, tell them, because I had you unmuted. Sorry.
I had a mute. Here's a grayscale finder. Finds the grayscale. But if you look down here, you can see that some of the colors really aren't showing through the dots, and then you'll see them start to show even here. And that's because, like, in a way the camera's squinting. If you squint at it, you'll notice that on any painting, different areas, you know, have different values. And so I want this to be in a darker value. I want this to be in these sort of values, and it's really more up in those ranges. So I know I need to darken it out. And I can use this to make sure that my contrast and my values are different. Right? So I love these. You can, by the way, you can just print these out and a hole punch and make these at home. You don't got to buy a fancy cool thing. This is a definite DIY thing that you can do so you can have some grayscale. And I'll probably make a short or something so we can work on doing grayscale. Now, for a second, I'm going to, I don't know if I want to do deer. I think I want to do my round blender. I'm not going to do my Deerfoot stippler, even though it's a little bit bigger. I'm going to use my number 12 round blender. And I'm going to start to do some glowing effects and some little more drama. I'm going to grab this. I'm going to get it wet. I'm going to go ahead and grab a little orange and a little yellow. And I'm going to make a very, very bright color. And then just pick some of the brown up in it. And it's not dissimilar of a process where I am coming in here and still very light. I know I'm going to have like lots of little interesting guys there. And so you can see that's just pulling up that glow. Let's go here with a little cad yellow and maybe even a little zinc white. Just pulling that white, that area up a little bit. I just grabbed a little more zinc. So this lets me soften a value or kind of see how I'm able to bring those around irregularly. Bring some of that up there, some strength. Sometimes we don't think about the background with the same intensity that, you know, we might think about the main subject matter of the painting. So it's always nice when you have this opportunity. I'm going to go a little more orange through here. To really paint a background. Paint it as it is art. Like if I want to glaze that there. See how I can glaze right over the blue and that creates also its own transition of color? Just look at that ephemeral. And the blue coming through and I haven't even... So it's a powerful tool, my friends. Powerful tool. Worth your time. And energy. Come here and just kind of bring some of that glow down. And it does. It comes down and it glows in here, doesn't it? This brush allows me to work smooth applications over my canvas, even though it has a pretty good grain in it. Taking a little zinc white and cad yellow medium. Add a little bit of this light up here. So see, we're adding little spots of light, aren't we? And that's important, friends. Add little bits of light. Running between the cad yellow medium, the cad red, and the zinc white. And then sometimes I can come back over areas as they have rested for a bit and even soften them out further with the brush. Take out a little bit of my cad red, take out a little bit of my cad yellow, maybe a little more cad yellow. And I definitely want to get some brown in here. Let's add some little airy-fairy bits up here. These are just little kisses of color. Yeah. Things that we can do in acrylic that if we just know the tools, the skills, and the layers are amazing.
Nikki says, I absolutely love watching y'all. I'm new to painting, and you make it so fun, informative, and easy to follow. Also, I love your humor.
Thank you. Very nice to hear. That was a little... See, that doesn't hit like acrylic, and that's what's super nice about this, is it's not hitting like acrylic. It does hit very much like it's... I'm going to take a little bit of white and yellow. Add some focal white. Now, if it gets away from you, guess what we can do? Glaze. It's a super true story. Like, as you're coming here, like if you do like a little bit of light and then you need to push it back later, you're going to glaze it back. And believe it or not, that can be huge. Huge in the end result of your painting. Grab a little more yellow. I'm going to lighten this up here. So I can lighten with titanium white for sure. Let me see, I'm pushing that back to a little more yellow. And I'm also blending those little spots a bit, aren't I? I think I'll go a little more red-orange here. You can see I can push in and scumble with my brush quite a lot if I feel like it. Rinse out. And take a little more of my cad red and my cad yellow. Don't we just love this brightening up? I'm going to kind of, yeah, I'm painting out the hat a bit, but I'm going to put the hat back and then it'll just have a nice... Now, while all this is dry, I'm going to take a little bit of this and I'm going to go into my white here and I'm going to definitely grab my glaze. Come over and glaze this back a bit. Isn't that dramatic? So dramatic.
So dramatic. It's
gotta
cat
be
drama.
It's cat. It is though. Add a little bit of just blue and white over here. Look at the weird shape my brush is in. I don't mind that it's in a weird shape. I don't. Just bring some of that there. Gonna rinse that out. And let's go ahead and take a little bit, and I think we have to do a color adjust soon, John. If we can. I don't know if we can.
I'm going to look over there and see. I think what it is that we get a little, the tone, or the light to dark gets a little dark off, so we lose some of the detail. And I'll get adjusted as I can watch here.
Okay. See, because I've darkened that up visually, but all you see is blue there.
Part of it is the reflection there, but no, actually, you do see a lot of the blue. There's a lot of different tones of blue in there.
Okay.
There's and remember, you have a lot of washed out on your screen, so you can't see some of the detail that we can see.
Okay. I just want to make sure that
get
a nice dark value through here.
Oh yeah, you're looking through the
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, you're looking through that screen, which absolutely doesn't have the right color. But over here, it looks really good.
Okay. Okay.
That's because you're looking through a mirrored reflection of a light.
I see. Let me look on here on the screen to see what they're saying off my phone.
I'm making some adjustments as we go.
Okay.
So don't worry. Is this where you want to call it a step?
Yeah. We're going to call this a step, and we're going to dry everything.
Okay.
Dry everything.
So, when we're doing this, what oftentimes happens is that I have to adjust the cameras up and down as we go so that they can see some darker, so that we can match how dark or light she's painting. Because when we first start, sometimes it's I have to adjust it for a white canvas, so white will blow out real easily. It reflects a lot of light. So we oftentimes have to tone the camera down a lot when we first start. And as you can see, I can pull up more. And I got to figure out where it's at because that yellow is pretty bright. But because the canvas reflects so much light when we first start it, I have to change the adjustment as we get rid of all that white surface.
True story.
So I think, what do you think there? Does that look pretty?
Yeah, I think that's where we're at, and I can adjust from there. All right. So now I'm back still, 1 inch
let's go back
mop.
to your next step.
Yeah, and we're going to come in and I'm going to grab a little bit of my burnt sienna and my yellow ochre. And I will come through here, burnt sienna and yellow ochre. Dance my little brush around, creating kind of little ribbons of light. I'm over here in the upper corner, coming down.
I thought I was on the other screen. Sometimes I get them switched.
I'm bringing this down. You're doing great, babe. So you can see there that we start to kind of really pull that in and blend that in. Maybe get a little yellow on there and a little red. Pop a little highlights. Pop them highlights, my friends. Pop them. Pop them up, man. Gim, gim, gim. That's looking really good. I like that ethereal little element this time. I'll go back into my burnt sienna. I don't really rinse out though because I know I'm gonna grab my glazing medium on here and create another little smoky glaze. So everything going on around Mr. Magic Cat's, the environment around the cat, I think, is what makes things feel magic.
It does. I don't know. I think you have a pretty magic cat. I think you could put that cat on a lot of different backgrounds and you'd have a pretty magic cat.
You think so?
I do, but I think that I see the value add of the magic background. I'm not. Right. I don't want to deny the value add.
A little bit of burnt sienna and Mars black as we come down, and we'll work that back in. So there's that again, smoky transition.
Because it's Super Magic Cat, but Super Magic Cat would still be Super Magic Cat in their own right.
And then come in dark and make sure that there's that darking blend. So I'm just constantly working that smoke effect, that feeling of smoke, all of that. And I actually think we've kind of really, in just a little session, nailed it mostly. Let's dry out. I think I still want to glaze and then highlight. So I'm going to take a little bit of my yellow and I'll work it into my brush and my glazing medium. And you can see that that pulls that into the yellow, leaving me still room to do a hot spot. Ooh, that's too much. If that ever happens, you just come in and you go, no, 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 no. Usually it just adds dimensionality, so I don't ever get that stressed about it, but that'll happen. Like sometimes I'll be like, that's not the color I meant to put down. All right, I think we are pretty through our background. Now, conceptually in art, one tends to paint the furthest back, coming forward, you know, from the background to the middle ground to the foreground. And that way object placement and layering creates the illusion of depth. So the background, the distant background, this sort of smoky, magical, awesome effect, it needs to be painted first. And then I'm going to hit the cat, and then I get to hit the twigs and elements that add that dimensionality when this is all done.
So that's why there's so many. That's kind of why this is a 3 hoot, though.
So 3 hoot takes a minute to figure out. In glazing, it just takes a minute to figure out how the glazing works, right? It just takes a minute to figure out how the tools work, how to get your mop brush to work. This one lovely woman came, and I know the name, I'm just not sharing the name, came to the retreat and was like, I can't get this mop brush to work no matter what I'm doing. And she handed it to me. And that's how I found out that there's hair and goat. Because I'm looking at the brush. I'm like, that looks like hair. So I got it wet and I was like sniffing it. Like you sniff the brush to see if it's natural hair. Because it'll smell like wet hair or it'll smell like a wet goat. And it definitely did. So that's how I knew what was going wrong. So she'd been fighting with this brush for months, but it wasn't synthetic. Too much water in the brush.
So now, as she said, we just got to dry, and thoroughly dry this, because as you go on to the next, you don't want to be painting, or you don't want anything to be mixing as you're doing your next subsequent layers. You want them you actually want to put layers on layers here. So you want to be painting over dry. You don't want to be affecting the layer below with the paint you're currently putting on. Or vice versa. So by getting it thoroughly dry, it will absolutely do that. Now, you don't need to use heat. That's not necessary. Just a lot of air is all that, lots of air, low heat.
Lots of air, low heat, sir? Is that what you say?
Generally speaking.
I'm going to use a angle brush. Come here, half-inch angle brush. Half-inch angle brush by Princeton Catalyst. Now, I'm going to take a little bit of my Mars black, like you do, and my phthalo blue. Mix them together. I'm going to paint in the hat. I have enough of my lines left over where I should be able to come back fairly close. Now, understand our goal here is not to be copy or Xerox machines. Our goal here is to learn how these paintings are constructed.
So you can do it yourself with different pieces anytime you want.
Exactly. Not just this painting, but paintings in general is what we're working on. So I'm coming on the angle of this brush, and I tend to use the toe to get details. I like phthalo blue and Mars black because it makes the highlighting process I'm about to do so much easier. I do overpaint my ears and down into my head, and that's just because I know there's going to be such a dark shadow there. Just paint it all blue-black.
It's a cat in a hat. That's a sorting kind of hat. Definitely magic.
That is exactly right. Kitties are for sure Ravenclaw.
Huh. I don't know. I know some cats that were definitely Hufflepuff.
That's true. This cat, though. This cat, though. Now I'm going to come here and I'm going to get a little bit. I haven't rinsed my brush even. I'm going to grab a little bit of my red and magenta, and I already had my black on there. And then I'm grabbing my cad red. And that is how you get that crazy wine color. Now you know how to get a wine color. Isn't that wonderful?
It does. It is.
Now I know I'm going to also come here and I'll grab some, I don't know, brown and purple, cad red. I think I can do this with my, paint these little guys in again. I'm going to just say this is here, but very loosely because I want to come in with a more detailed brush to paint in the fall leaf. So I'm just getting some of the shape, but I'm not taking it out as far as it might go. And I can't do that last part until, you know, because I've got to be able to show the ear in there very dark and, you know, still.
It's a very styling hat.
Oh, no, it's super styling. Now I'm going to put this. I like this brush for sketching, and that's just a preference that I have. And I'm going to get an interesting, I'm going to grab D brushes. So this, I think I'm going to do this size. This is nice. Big enough.
Next step?
Next step.
All right.
This is a number 4 Raphael Da brush. It's a synthetic, so it's in the textura line. It has a side that's a filbert and has a side that's a blender. I really like these brushes. They come in hog. They come in different filaments. I just very much like this. And I'm going to take a little of my phthalo blue and Mars black. And my zinc white. I'm going to start to paint the values. That went down too far. Of the hat.
I knew hats were valuable.
Now I went a little far with that line, and see, I can just come put that back with dark. So I don't worry about that. I'm just starting to reveal to me, sir. A little bit of zinc white over here so I don't have to work for it so hard.
It shall be revealed.
Needs to be. Adding a little bit of that blue and white there at the center of the hat. I'm kind of loose about it. If you notice, it's just very scumbly. I'm trying to focus it sort of where the light hits down the hat. I'm maybe 1 or 2 shades up from the black. So it's kind of in the center, curves up to the top of the head. Pretty good. Like, oh, look, there's a hat. Hats happen. Hats really do happen, though. Okay, I'm going to grab a little of my black. Black and blue over here. Come along the edge of the brush. Had some little wrinkles of shadows in. You gotta love them little wrinkles. You wouldn't think that painting a black object is as much work as it is, but it is quite a lot of work, actually.
Lots to get it to look right.
Yeah. I might go ahead and mix a little of my ultramarine blue and purple over here, kind of to add a little periwinkle to it. Taking a little bit of my titanium white. I haven't rinsed my brush. And you'll notice that I can push out quite a lot of paint. So this method of carrying color, it works. I'm very sketchy with this. And that helps the hat feel a little rumpled.
Oh. Rumpled cat.
Rumpled. It gotta be a little bit rumpled.
That's from hard play.
Oh, yeah.
That hat says, I take my evening crazy serious.
When we get the zoomies, stuff happens. We got the magic zoomies. The magic zoomies. My human has catified my house. My human has made vertical zones for me. My human respects my tail twitch. I grew up having cats. And when John and I were first married, we had cats, but he's super allergic, so it just wasn't sustainable. But I'll tell you what, I see all these people on TikTok with cats, and when their cat bites them, they're like, I don't know when my cat bit me. I'm like, I do. Like, I just met you and I know why your cat bit you.
If I had to live with you, I might bite you.
Definitely bite some of them. It's like, you know, everything alive could say, don't touch me. You're supposed to respect that.
Some things can say it louder than others.
Yeah, your cat's about to tell you in no uncertain terms. So I'm just trying to kind of reveal the wrinkles and aspects of that hat going up, right? So that's looking pretty good. All right. Now, but I do want to dry this because I want to be able to dry brush and layer and glaze it up.
Okay.
Like all the things.
All the things.
All the things. So the dry hat will really help me do that.
Thoroughly dry there. Make sure you get all of that, thoroughly. I'm just making sure I didn't miss anything here in chat. Thoroughly dry the hat. This very cute hat. We must thoroughly dry it. And while you're drying it, you can click that like button and the subscribe button and the share button. Oh, the share is a powerful share because that lets all of your other friends know that they too can paint this cute cat. And that's really awesome. So we love when you share the cats because the cats deserve, like, if you have a cat group on like Facebook and you're like, hey, can I share this cat with my cat group? Yes, you can, because it's cat-tastic. So just my thoughts on that this is cat-tastic. Now you need a step 10.
I do. I'd like one.
10 steps.
10 steps. 10 steps. I'm gonna grab a little bit of my red and my yellow. Dry brush some of this up the side. See how that's a dry brush? So instead of blending by glazing or blending by wet into wet, I'm just coming over the top of the canvas and leaving a light glaze of color there.
Ah.
Just dry brush this all the way through because it's just very nice. And what that is showing is the light reflecting on the cat's head. The difference between the little one hoop painting party paintings and this really is just an understanding of light. Use of technique. Now I'm going to come here and I'm going to add a little bit of white to this little strange purple mixture just to make a light color. I'm using an angle brush. This is my 1/4 inch angle. I like these because they give me lots of rough spaces. And I'm going to start adding some little highlights that could be present. So if you think about how the hat would wrinkle, right?
Yeah.
How it would fold, how it would...
That's Cat's afternoon show. How the hat wrinkles.
How the hat wrinkles? Well, I mean, you gotta do what you gotta do.
Only magic hats, though.
This is so
Pretty
shiny
cool.
today.
Yeah.
Right? Just so shiny. And then I'm going to come here and grab a little bit of my white. That's a little more than I wanted. Can see that I just smudged it there and blended it out. That's actually not that bad to do.
Amethyst Rock thinks, animals with hats, special month. How many cats in a hat will our animals rock?
I'm
That's
adding
awesome.
a little bit of white up here. On the lip of that hat. I'm going to add a little bit right there. Now, while this is all having to dry, I'm going to come back to my magenta and my Doc's purple. And then let's get a little more cad red involved to that mix. And then another little bit of the Doc's purple in there. Just making sure that over here there's some darkness. Make sure there's darkness, my friends. Adding a little more magenta. I'm just really into this wine color, right? Let's get a little bit of our white in it. There we go. If there's enough cad red, you'll be able to find the value in it. Just hitting a little bit of ribbon and rah-rah. Sometimes I'll take a little kind of cad red in there to like glow it up. I'm going to come around my reflection. I'm not removing my shadows. Oh, I do. I do, sir. Here we go. I love you as I paint my brim. Okay, very cool. So really with that, right, what we have is a kind of popped, exaggerated hat. Now, I really, really love it here, but to get that, you know, kind of wrinkled effect, I've got to come back with a little of my blue and black again. We want to make sure that we are exaggerating perhaps shadows and wrinkles. I'm coming there and just making little dashes, little wrinkles, little moments. And again, we'll glaze it back to where we want it to be. And what we need it to be, right? Now I'm going to take a little bit of my cad red and some cad yellow. Grab some magenta. So it's cad red, cad yellow, and some magenta. And right there, I will pop that little highlight. Yeah, I like that. I do like that. Now I want to dry everything. I will wait for you to be here. Oh my gosh, my coffee. I get to sip my coffee and drum a poon.
Okay, so she can dry her painting. And I think that we're about. I think we're about done with the hat. It looks like we're pretty. That hat is looking pretty dapper. That's a pretty dapper hat, I think. We gotta maybe do some more leafiness on the hat or whatever the leafy thing is, but I can. That's a good looking hat. So dry your hat, and you know, if you weren't feeling the pointy hat, you could do a bowler or a fedora or
I mean, it's your hat. It's their hat. They can hat whatever they want to hat. Okay, if it's dry, 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 make sure it is, because this next part doesn't work if it's not. I'm going to take a little bit of my blue and black together. Very lightly on my brush. I mean, I'll wipe it off on the paper towel. And I'm going to get my glaze. Just wild how it works. Wow. I like it. Little black, little glaze. So we can push that back. It's just amazing how that works, how that lets us get a full range of values and create something that's very, let's grab a little bit of my yellow ochre and burnt sienna and take it over to my orange. I think I just want more glow this time. A couple spots. So again, if I don't like it at the end, I can always knock it back. But a lot of times I want to push that glow even a little bit more. I just added a little burgundy to that. Coming back into this wonderful little headband. And then back into that. I'm using my D brush. Making little lines at the top. So it's just, it's not that Not that hard. It's really rather doable. And I think it's just one of those things that when you finally do figure out what you want to do with it, I'm going to grab a little bit of my yellow and brown from up here. So this was my cad yellow, a little cad red, and some brown. I'm going to grab my glazing liquid. Just let a little of that sort of tint the hat a bit. If I feel like I've taken it too far, I'll just come back with a little bit of my blue and black. Oh, that went a little, I went a little bigger with that than I intended to. I wanted to have little bits of the hat coming off, but I'm going to have to come back and be a little chiller with it. So what I'll do is I'll just erase a bit, but I'm still leaving some of that edging. There, we roughed up that edge there some. And a little bit of just titanium white here and there. These are just high highlights, right? I'm gonna just pop that reflection a bit. There we go. I think that that hat looks pretty darn good. I'm happy with that. Now, right here, I'm going to be starting to paint in that. And that start is going to be maybe a little bit of my cad red and my quinacridone magenta. Yeah, it's the leaf. We might even give it a new step. Let's give the leaf a new step. Make sure that we paint this just a little bit pointed, and I'm going to go into my burgundy color that was in my hat band. A lot of times one of the things that I'll find is that as I'm working, bring that in a little bit. This is the burgundy. The burgundy was the cad red, the quinacridone magenta, and the dioxazine purple. I think the big thing with this is just to get a kind of pointed feeling, like a holly feeling or something. Yeah, get a little more water on my brush to improve the flow of the water going out. So sometimes when I'm painting, when I'm using my brush and the brush doesn't go anywhere, then I'm going to look for, oh, have I... See how we've kept that very pointed. Now I'm going to add a little more yellow. I need to put my glasses back on so I can see what I'm doing. And remember, I can come back over to my zinc and get little value changes that are subtle, that are distinctive, but they are not so overwhelming. Zinc is a lot of what will help acrylic look like oils. Now, some of that is because oil artists paint with zinc, and some of that is because I'm going to add a little highlights here, just with my fine brush. I'm just improving some of this. I'll come back over with the glaze on that white and try to make sure that my ribbon up here has that going on. I will like that later. Not uncommon to need that in any way. Now we're going to be able to get onto the kitty face, or the kitty itself, which is like the whole reason I showed up to work today, is so that I could enjoy my kitty. It's still reading is very blue up here. So what I'm going to want to do, if I'm going to want to darken it up, is I'm going to take a little bit of my Doc's Purple and my Ultramarine. Just glazing it. Just need to glaze it. So I rinsed out my brush, and you can see I've got that deep, deep color, and then I just feather that out so that this just kind of transitions forward here. I'm taking the purple and I'm just coming off this edge. You can see it's getting us there. And then I blend it down. That's just water in my brush. I'm not even using a medium for this part of the blend. I'm just letting the paint do what it does. I'm just letting the paint do what the paint wants to do. And you can see that that gives me that next level of so dramatic. Hey, John? All right. Oh, we're just need a step in. Overhead. Yeah, I think we need a step. And I will catch my next step, but I don't have Zoom. I don't have Zoom, so. Okay. Well, you're allowed coffee too. So now we're going to work on Mr. Kitty Pants. And I think I'm going to get the eyes in first and maybe the nose, because the whole rest of the cat kind of comes in if those things work. So I'm going to do that now. And then I'll come back and, you know, glaze, touch up little things if they need a glaze and everything. And pushed my hat a little bit, but I really like it. Like I really like it, so I may leave it alone. Sometimes that'll happen. You'll be like, oh, I really like that. I might just let that be a thing. Now I'm going to do most of this painting with a detail brush. This is a Princeton round liner. I'm going to mist my palette with water. That's just to keep the paint fresh because it's a long painting session. Even with a wet palette, I'm going to put out more glazing medium. So zinc, glazing medium, titanium white, Mars black, ultramarine blue, Doc's purple, quinacridone magenta, cad red medium, cad yellow medium, phthalo blue, phthalo green, yellow ochre, burnt sienna. Just to give you a tour of the.
Bree is super happy that you loves that you do this work. So
Bree, thank you. Thank you. I question it sometimes, but lately I had a good experience at my art retreat, and it's amazing. I love the art retreats because the other side effect of those is that you remember all the reasons why you do everything that you do. So I'm coming here and I'm just taking black around the eye. Come in and let's get in a little bit of our pupil here. I'm using water, just water, no mediums. Putting in that iris there. I had kind of like given myself some information on that before when I did the sketch painting in, but so this is just helping me get eye shape, right? Alrighty. There you go. I think we need a zoom, babe. I don't have zoom. Because, you know, the eyes are really, really detailed. I'm going to just pull this here now. I'm going to pay attention to making sure that there's a bit of a curve to that, to the nose. And then I'm going to come in here and just make sure that I've got a little bit of a nostril and a little bit of a nostril worked out in there. I want to know where those are. Now I'm going to come in here and I'm going to take a little bit of my, I think I'll use my white and my yellow ochre. This will be exaggerated, but again, we'll glaze back. We'll glaze back hard. This is also where my cats get like different expressions every time I do them, because like but just getting these in right the first time, that's like the big thing. And then once you get those in, the details are actually pretty chill to do. Go ahead and get a little bit of my, oh gosh, we'll call it burnt sienna, Mars black, and titanium white. I added some glazing medium, but honestly on this one I added it just to improve the blending. And I'm going to come up over the eye. Come up under the eye. Yeah, we're going to be definitely defining this more and more and more and more and more, but that's the basic. So that is, we have this sort of light hair that we've got to think about around the eyes. And I'm just making sure I've got a shape that I like. And you can go ahead and, you know, if you need to take it down further, whatever, you're going to be blending layers of fur in. So don't feel like you're going to mess yourself up, because you're not. I'm going to get my brush rinsed. Something I'm doing, if you're very, very new and you came in because it was like, got recommended to me and you're like, I don't know if this is for a beginner. It is, because this tip I'm about to give. When you're very, very new to painting, there is on all round brushes, when you do a vigorous rinse out in your thing, a water drop that hides on the handle and then comes down and secretly plops on your painting. So you will see me wipe my brush constantly with a towel to keep that water off. That is what I am doing. A little blue, a little black, a little misted water. The reason for the misted water is to keep the paint from overly drying out. Now this side, the people can almost touch the top. That's okay. Gonna go ahead and keep reinforcing lines of the eyes. A little bit of yellow ochre and white again. 'Cause Just making sure I've got everything I need as the beginning, that architecture, that beginning of the eye and the nose, right? That's what we're trying to do, is just make sure we have everything we need. I do like spending some time on the eyes. I won't lie to you, it's kind of one of my faves. Now, my nose color, I'm going to take a little of my cad red over to my quinacridone. I mean, a little of my cad red over my yellow ochre. Just as a place to start. Sort of pay attention to the shaping of my nose. There's a little bit of a bump here I definitely want to capture. Sometimes these things are important to a breed, and sometimes these things are important to a specific pet. So yeah, it is important to pay attention to the structure of facial features. To pull those little nostrils out. I may even put them back in a second. I may put this in first and then put my nostrils back in a second. It may work better because I've just got to get the right shape. It's a very specific shape to the nose, and I'm just trying to make sure that it goes up, down, so that when I come in and add all the shading and different things, that the shape is correct. I'm going to come here with a little bit of black. We're going to start thinking about, you know, how that adds there. Starting to think about it, shaping it in, going, hey, 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 hey. Sometimes the nudge is a very powerful tool, right? The nudge can be a very, 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 very powerful tool. All right, now I'm going to take a little bit of my cad red and yellow, mostly yellow. It's okay if I get a little brown into it. I brush this down just a little bit. Brush that down just a little bit. You guys are doing good. You guys are fantastic. Let's grab a little bit more of that color. Curving my stroke using the #1 Princeton. Curving. So see, not just the value determines what's going on, right? But also, get a lot more yellow. To the bottom of that eye will be a lot more yellow. Now I do find that sometimes I have to put pupils back, and I'm okay with that. I'm fine with that. That's completely okay with me. Okay, now that this is done, to this stage, we have to dry to get anything else done.
So, just these eyes are looking pretty good. So it's thoroughly dry for the next step. And Nikki, where are the retreats held? We hold our retreats at different locations. In the past, we've held a lot of them on the East Coast, but we're looking at other locations to start holding them. And
now I'm going to put up my fluid white that we talked about at the beginning of the lesson for the first time. I'm put it next to my other white because it's the same same opacity.
New step here.
New step here. I'm going to use my brush to load up just on the tip with that fluid white. Ooh, and it's going to be a journey. Adding a little white into the inside of that eye. Coming along, curving that in. I'm also going to tap in kind of little dots thicker down there. Drinking my drink, trying not to lose consciousness. Come here and go under the eye. Come around that eye again. Tapping those up. Now I'm going to take a little bit of my magenta. So I had my wine mix earlier. I'm going to mix a little burnt sienna. If you missed the wine mix, that was the Cad Red, Quinacridone Magenta, Dioxazine Purple. Come to the top of the nose. And a little bit the bottom. Now I add a little of the zinc white to that. So it's a lighter shade, but it's not light. And add a little bit of that to the inside corner of that eye. And a little bit of that there. Just being super careful, using our glasses so we can see and our detail brushes so we can have control. And if we lose anything, what do? We put it back, don't we? We don't panic, we don't any of that, we just put it back. Now I'm going to grab a little bit of white to that nose burgundy color. Just shading it at the moment. Right, so we've added a little bit of that highlight. Now I'm going to come back with a little black. and do some nostrils. What happens to people when they're doing this? Very often, what happens is that they are, I'm going to grab some cad red and burnt sienna and yellow. I'm adding a kind of just a depth of color there. Now I've really got to dry everything for the next part of this technique to even remotely work. So let's dry this with our hair dryer and come back and I'll show you how we glaze it into drama eyes.
Drama eyes. Just a little dry. They're looking really cute, these eyes. Just as they go. Dry, dry, dry. Same step?
No, new step.
New step.
Okay, now let's take a little bit of our burnt sienna and our Mars black together. Oh no, that's got some white there. I don't want any white in this next mix. So burnt sienna, Mars black. Pretty good. Okay. I'll work that through the brush and get my glazing medium. Now I'm going to come up over the eye with that glaze. And I'll create the shadow under the lid. I'm going to rinse that out. And I'm going to grab my yellow, just a touch of red. And I'm going to get that glazing medium going. And I'll glaze over all of the white. And if you'll notice, what that does is create a weird glow or luminance in that eye. Isn't that wild?
Really is.
But it's just a trip. This allows me then, if I want to take this yellow and this white together. So I've got my fluid white and my yellow. I can touch up shape or glow at any time. Take a little bit of my black and blue and white. Add that to the eyes a little bit. And then a little bit of white. Yeah. Crazy, right?
Yeah.
Now I'm going to get a little bit of my cad red and magenta, and then a little bit of my yellow. Kind of makes this kind of crazy orangey brown. Get a little glaze. See how that just shades up? Now I'll get my dark color and I'll add some purple to it. But still my glaze. And you can see I'll use my palette to like wipe off extra pigment. Where I don't want like a bunch of extra pigment, I just want a tint. Not extraordinary. Got a little bit of yellow and white into that mix. but I haven't rinsed my brush.
It's a cute little nose.
That's what you got to do. You got to give a cute little nose. Cute little nose. That is the whole step. Dry everything. We are on to fur, my friends. Fur, 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 fur. Fur, 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 fur.
It's fur. On to the fur step. That's good to be in the fur. Thoroughly dry. Oh, that looks so cute. The little noses. So, I like that a lot. I think that looks pretty cool. All right.
All right. Fur. Let's paint some ears. I've got this great mix of cad red, quinacridone magenta, dox purple, a little yellow ochre, even burnt sienna over here. But interestingly enough, it is a good start to the inside of a cat's ear that might be in shadow. I mean, he can't have tortitude unless we give him tortitude, right? Paint the inside of that ear with that glowing red. And even though I know I'm going to put a lot more of this ear in shadow, I will do the same here. All right, I'm going to do the same there. Now I'm going to take a little bit of my burnt sienna and my Mars black. I touch a titch, just whoosh, such a titch. Just hint it there. I'll come over to my yellow ochre. I'll grab some zinc white over there. Just a little bit, so we're just hinting it. We will come back and we will knock some of it back later.
Yeah.
And again, we will be knocking that back into the hat later. When those are in, right, because that's a minimum viable that we got to get in, I'm going to go back to, interestingly enough, my round blender. And I'm going to grab some of my basic fur color, and I'm going to begin to brush that around. So let's take that. That's a little bit of my Dox purple.
Same first step, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I can add a little more burnt sienna to it. So I get it all the way where I want it to be. We're just going to say that that's base.
Base.
It's dark. You can see it blends right up under the hat, and we haven't even glazed yet.
Oh.
Now I'm careful around my little nose, right? So I don't want to paint away everything I worked so hard. And this gives me a chance to maybe, erase some lines. Can always put things back. I'm grabbing the glazing medium, and this is really just so I can start to take this brush. See how I'm doing that? Feather it out. Give my cheek back. Hopefully I didn't over fatten him this time.
I don't think that's possible.
I mean, not the way I feed pets, but yeah. Just, I love them. I added a little black, and I'm still just, look how lightly I'm doing it. I'll grab my glaze, and the reason I'm grabbing my glaze is the glaze will also help the effect of it looking like it's blending wet into wet, even though it's not. See how it's doing? So I can get these nice little edges. I'm using this darker color through here, which was the Mars black and the burnt sienna, just more black, up over the paws, definitely around here.
Thank you very much, Celtic Peasant.
Thank you.
Love your guys' support. We really appreciate.
Let's grab a little zinc.
All of our patrons.
I do. Thank you for patroning. And I'm going to add a little bit of a highlight. It's still pretty dark, right? Because this is going to be a lot in shadow, but we still have to have some value so we can tell where things are. Like, where's the chin? Where's the... If I come back with dark under that chin... that can help me differentiate those things. So even if I come here and I'm like, oh, no, let's grab some brown and a little more white and come up over that. See, that chin's just a little lighter. I don't want to take my nose away. That's just me making sure that the brush fits in tight and doesn't erase what I have. Maybe a little more of the white on there. And then I'm bringing this brush stroke across, you'll notice. And then down where the paw is. I just grabbed some black to just, you know, shade it a bit. Little shadow behind the paw. Again, brushing that around. Now remember, we have pumpkins, we have things here, it's a dark value, so, you know, you've got to think about that when you're deciding how much information am I going to share in this moment. A little black, a little brown. Is something funny?
Just agreeing.
I heard you laugh.
I said, yeah. Just agreeing with you.
I was like, what's funny? I don't want to miss out. No. I had a FOMO moment. I'm adding a little zinc white to my mix just to make sure that I am exaggerating a little bit the highlight on the paws. Maybe a little bit of highlight there. It's really just kind of a first layer that has to be put in on him. He looks like something strange right now. Let's dry everything.
Gotta dry it thoroughly so that you can get the layers in there. and otherwise the fur just becomes sort of muddled. You want those distinct brush strokes, strokiness lines to make it look like fur, not like a smooth color from one to the other, right? So that's how you make the stuff. And so you have to do it in layers, and that's the thing about acrylic paint, is that you have to dry it periodically to get that layering effect to happen. Layering effects.
Ooh, he's just eyes in hat right at the moment.
Now we shall step.
Step it, sir. I'm going to grab a little bit of my quinacridone and my yellow ochre. And come to the edge of this ear. Might come over here in my yellow. I know that I will be painting that away later, but I just want that there. So that when I go to paint it away, it is wonderful. That is what I want. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make up some base fur, which is my black and my brown. All right, for the light fur. Black, brown, and white is going to be the base fur kind of color that I'm starting from. I will be playing with that with more brown and all kinds of things, but right now I just want to begin there. And I'm going to add a stripe. And then another little stripe. One right here. One right there. One right here. And it's okay if I might even kind of up that just so that I can see it a little better. There is kind of a little bit of one coming off here. One coming off there. Now I'm kind of blending in those highlights. I will come back with another one, but now, you know, we've got that cool beginning. That's maybe more than I needed, but I can always knock it back. Too much white. Sometimes I get so much paint on here, it's just not good for the technique, and I have to wipe off. Yeah, I'll just come in and I'll just bring it in. Just shaving in his little cat face as I can. I'll bring a little bit of highlighting down there. Starting to get a little Puss in Boots going. It's amazing how stuff just starts to come in, right? Going to have to do a lot of shading on the nose. And that's okay. But to dish that nose correctly, I'll have to definitely shade that and make sure that there's the shadow where I need the shadow and the rise where I need the rise. Just making sure that I'm starting to think about where the pattern goes. This is the other trick. When you're painting someone's pet, if you got a tortie, pay attention to the tortie. The pattern of the tortie, everything about the tortie, that is how the owner, like, they know every stripe. we're gonna, you know, there's lots of stuff going on. Maybe you're like trying to figure out how to make a little extra cash and you're thinking, you know, multi-level marketing isn't for you. I get it. It was not for me. Right? And you're like, yeah, I don't know, just to have some extra cash and stuff. Believe it or not, pet portraits, especially coming up on the holidays, is a fantastic way to make money as an artist. You want to do that, you just paint a couple examples of some pets and you print out a little price sheet for sizes and commission rates and stuff. Then you drop that down at your local frame shops, and for anything they sell, they get a commission for you. And then you will have a full-time, overwhelmingly busy pet painting business. If it doesn't work out with YouTube, you bet that's what I'll be doing. Because that always pays the bills. I'm just saying, like, in my life as an artist, I don't think that anything is going to change that. It always pays the bills. Now, as I work, I will sometimes notice like certain things are need to be moved, or I've over exaggerated something, and that's okay. A little bit of curl on that hair and that fur in that chest. Lots of.
Teresa from South Africa says, "Hi, Cinnamon."
Hi, Teresa. How are you doing?
She says, "That's a cute kitty."
Thank you. See how the different little zones of catitude start to exist? Just comes forward. Okay. Now we need to dry everything, and I need to take a pee break soon.
Let me see about getting that loaded up.
Okay. Oh. John's going to load that up, and I'm going to dry, and then we're going to... This is going to be one of the best things I've done on the channel. This is right up there with the dog, really, isn't cool. It? Yeah, he's really gorgeous.
So, guys, this is... Now I have to go over and make sure what we're gonna do is you're probably not here right this second, but here pretty quick. We're gonna take a break. I have to make sure that some various things are set up to do that, which I'm gonna do next. And that's what we're gonna talk about. So, yeah. My brain is all based on what we have to do to get to do the next live, where she wants to take a break, and we will be able to. So my brain is over on setting that up, but
mess this up.
I'm not quite ready to do the live. The
all right, step. You just let me when we are. I will be okay until the next step. So you're all right.
I've just got to make a little change. So let me give you another step.
All right, I'm gonna take a little bit of black and brown together.
The next step.
Mostly black. And I'm gonna come here, and it's too much. Add a little bit of a shadow inside that ear. These are weird touches, but they do matter. Just making sure that that line is nice. This is where I sometimes change the mood or personality of a pet, so I've got to pay really good attention to it if I don't want that to happen. You know? I'm going to add a little bit of a glaze kind of at the corner of this eye and another little glaze at the corner of this eye. Now let's get into some black. I haven't even gone into the glazing yet on any of that either. So there's just some fun stuff we're doing today, I think. I'm also going to come here kind of in the eye and make sure that that's going out. Just I actually like this. Not that I actually like my painting like in a surprise way. I mean, like the process of painting it live with you is actually much more chill than I expected today. I think I warned the whole family. I'm like, get ready. I don't know when I'm going to see any of you people again. I'm going to make another little kind of load up and make sure that my brush is a little bit wet, but I don't want to drop hiding on the ferrule. So that's what I'm being careful of. I'm going to add some little tortitude down here on the little front paws. I'll let John catch up with me. I went down ahead of him. He is replugging things in. I'm adding a little tortitude up to the front of those paws. Oh no, it's okay. I'm going to start to shape up some beans. Just imply the beans. Don't get too... The murder mittens are... you want to paint the murder mittens, but you got to remember that this is very much down in shadow, and so a lot of this isn't going to be where you really, really, really get to see it. So, like, put stuff where you know it needs to be. All right. Let's call that a step. Are we good? Huh? Not yet? Okay. Continuing on. Another step. It's okay. So I'm going to kind of work some of this down here, and I'm going to keep using my, it can just be that you just take my sound off and...
Yeah, I can. It doesn't work in a second.
Okay. So I've got my round blender, and I've got my glazing medium, and I have my... Oh, you unplugged my thing, so I don't know what you guys are seeing right now. I'm going to add a little bit of brown and get some glazing medium in there. There's a little black in that brown. And I'm going to lightly start to talk about some of that color over here. And a little bit over on this side as well. Just a little bit of brown and black. Isn't that lovely? A little bit of black, and I'm going to go ahead and get a little bit of my glazing medium on here. Glazing medium, I love it. It's a very powerful, powerful thing. Just come up here coming back up into the fur with the shadow. Now I'm going to come here and kind of make sure that the bottom of the paws have a little bit of shading on them. And coming back up over, you can see that's starting to push that down into the shadow, down into the shadow. I'm going to glaze up here just to darken that, coming up behind the pumpkins. Just brushing that roughly. Come across. Notice that I'm letting the brush make lines that are, I don't know, almost reminiscent of the shadow of straw. And a little bit of a glaze kind of pushing that paw back. So see how the glazing is that other thing that can let us in acrylic get more of an oil effect. All right, let's come here and get a little zinc. I'm just putting it out at first where I feel like it's going to be on the paws. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to wipe off my brush and blend, softly blend that little fur highlight in. See how I'm doing? Just want to see a hint of paw. Now, here's a trick. Up on it, you're going to think you haven't done nearly enough. And up on it, like if you're right on top of it, you're going to feel like, oh man, I did not do enough to make this work. And then when you get away from it, it's going to look right. So be sure that you don't over focus on your details. Adding a little white to my brush. Grab just a little brown. Just a kiss, just a hint. A little brown. Little zinc. And if this doesn't do it, then I'll come back and do it with glazing medium. And a little highlight. It's so soft right there.
I think I got it figured out.
Do you? Excellent. I'm going to just pull this across here. I mean, this was a lot to do anyways, right? So
yeah.
Not a bad thing anyways. Making sure that the underside of the little kitty is showing enough there that we feel it. All right, I will let you get that. I think this is, I think anyone coming in is like, oh, they're really like painting today. And we're going to be like, yeah, we're painting.
What we'll do is I'm going to go ahead and we're going to fade you out. Let's see, actually, let me see if it works. I'm going to see if I can hit the button and see if this just goes. Nope, that was not it.
That's terrifying.
That
was perfect for Halloween. Let's do that again and freeze the screen. Somebody will be like,
that was neat. I don't know what that
was. You should do that and write the words, be right back, and we'll see if like people go, ah!
Yeah, that did not do the effect that I thought it was going to do. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back over.
You can make me disappear and just
what I'm going to do is I'm going to mute you for a second.
Okay.
Whoop, and then I'm going to make you disappear and go boop. And then you know what I'm going to do? I think I can go down. Let me see how I can do this. You can go ahead and you're out. So you're good. So while you're doing that, guys, I'm going to talk to you for a second. Yeah. And so, yeah, you're muted there, and I'm gonna go ahead and I'll turn off the receiver just in case. So we're gonna just so you guys know here, I'm gonna move this around while we're kind of see. I don't know if I can move that slowly, but here there's a way for me to get my key. Or see, now I had all this stuff set up. So while you guys are looking at this, I'm gonna kind of go over here and see if I can switch my my key streams, which I think I can. So I'm going to go ahead and switch back over here. And while you guys are all hanging out here going, wow, he's just kind of talking us through all this kind of stuff. Yes, I am. So I'm going to go boop, and then boop, and then I think I can. No, can't do that. Don't know how to. Man, you guys are just seeing me figure all this stuff out here on the fly, because there was a way for me to have this set and prep, but it has just not gone the way that I wanted to here today. So, Media Player 2. I wonder, I might be able to, no, I can't pull that out from the Media Player, so I've got to, what it is, I've got all these different sources that I can pull stuff from and play it out from behind here. And because I have a new external player, and we moved the studio around and all this kind of stuff, I haven't had a chance to get all this stuff sort of set up and get it fully working yet. So, part of this is just me having to remember how all of this stuff works and get my different media players to work. And I don't know why my downstream gear isn't throwing this guy up. It's supposed to. Yeah, no. Nope, that's not it. Nope, that's not it. Nope, that's not it. That's not it. No. So, I am, as you say, trying to figure this all out as we're working, and it's kind of hard to be able to figure this stuff out on the fly. It really takes some concentration, and so I apologize that it's not. I don't have, but I think she's on her way down here, so I'm going to go ahead and turn on her receiver mic, and then, you ready?
I mean, are we ever really ready to paint live on YouTube for the whole world to have an opinion? Probably not. But other than that, as soon
as you get back, I'm going to be like, oh, I figured the button out. It'll work. Watch it.
Kind of feeling how awesome I am. Sometimes I get a painting and I'm like, I don't know why I do this. And then other times I do painting and I'm like, oh yeah, I remember. I'm good at it. This is a big project, and I know we have some big ones this Halloween. That can be a little overwhelming. I get it. Okay, let's continue making the awesomeness that it's him.
I think we're on step. Let's see if it works. 20.
Is it good?
It is.
It's good. Okay. My glasses are here. I should put those back on. All right. Let us continue to add layers. That's really what it is we're going to just continue to add layers and continue to add layers. Now I'm going to take my 1/4-inch angle brush. It's seen better days. Got to get some new ones. And I'm going to continue to add bits to the kitty. Now I'm going to take some yellow ochre over to my burnt sienna, Mars black, and titanium white mix over here.
And which glaze?
I said, yellow ochre to burnt sienna, Mars black.
Right.
I didn't say glaze.
I know. Which glaze are you using now?
Oh! Sorry. Gloss glazing liquid. It's in the description below.
Okay, I just want to make sure they were there.
It's totally in the description below, good. And it's on the website, and it's on every... So I've been trying to release the paint and the paint and the other materials. I might not always know every brush before painting, but sometimes I have a pretty good idea of certain things. Now, so I'm adding a little bit coming up here. Just, so that was a little yellow ochre. I'm brushing up. And that brushing up will also help inform it to feeling like it could be maybe fur.
Now, I didn't catch this earlier,
Okay.
but Donna
Hi, Donna.
Our Donna.
Our Donna.
Our Donna has gone and made sure that the big squeeze tube squeezer is in our store and in stock.
What?
It seems that they are there. I see a little picture of it. SKU number 104213.
Do you think they carry that now? Because we wouldn't shut up about that ringer and why
Big squeeze tube squeezer.
I wonder. Because we were all next to each. Do you
So,
remember when I lost my mind when I found it? And
was
everyone was like looking at me going, why is she? There is a real thing where people are like, if the Art Sherpa
got
likes
him.
it,
I didn't know we had him on our store. I'm so
that's
happy.
super exciting.
It's, you guys have to like, we're new store owners, so we're very excited when we get things. So thank you, Donna. That's awesome.
And we don't have a lot of employee, but like we have a couple of really great ones.
Yes.
So yeah, like I don't want it to seem like we're running the store. I'm adding a little zinc to that mix, so I'm lightening up that yellow ochre, burnt sienna, and Mars black at the top of the nose, right? I don't want too big of a highlight, and the reason I don't want too big of a highlight is if I get too much highlight going, then his face shape will dramatically change. I'm adding a little highlight, just a smidge of one over here. And then back into my main color. Just brushing in it. I know that seems like a fussy bit, but this kind of stuff matters when you're doing these little guys. And then once I have that, I can always come in with my white. Just adding little bits of highlights. And then I don't know if I'm ready to think about that yet, but I will give it a try. So I'm over here. This was Mars black and burnt sienna and white. I'm flicking to sort of imply fur. Now some shading I'm going to do with glazing at the end. So at first his face will feel like it's in a lot of light and the shadow isn't cast from the hat. And then we will slowly and carefully glaze back down on the hat. There we go. I'm going to come under the eye. Look at that little eye come to life. Wipe my brush off. I'm going to take a little bit of my white over towards where my yellow ochre is. Just add a little bit of a highlight there. Continue to play with the highlight at the top of the nose. I don't want it to go too far, and if I take it too far, don't worry, I can bring it right back out. Go ahead and just add a little bit right there. And bring this through here. So this will ask you to do some color mixing. That's true. I'm going to wipe off my brush and get some glazing medium and kind of blend this out this way. And then blend that there. See how we're blending on the canvas? We are paying attention to the fur, yes, but we're also being really careful about transitions and all kinds of things. A little more white into my yellow. Mixing a little white into that for the little above the eye. Maybe even a little more white. Let's go just more white. So sometimes I'm going and I'm like, that's not light enough. And then I come back and I lighten it up again. And I keep lightening it up and I keep lightening it up. I'll come here under the eye and pull that out. And then I'm going to come right back with this slightly lighter color to the front of the mouth. And I want to add highlights closer to the nose. Yeah, I just got mine. But that doesn't mean I don't need a microwave, I'm sure. I'm going to continue here and I'm going to add just a little bit of highlight. Got a little close to the mouth there, so I'm going to come back with the brush and clean that back out. Sometimes it takes me a second to clean up a boo-boo. This is just with water. Just cleaning up a boo-boo. They happen. Boo-boos will happen. What? Oh! I was like, I thought you were pointing at the thing like, ah! You guys are doing so good for hanging in. It's hard to hang in on this stuff, and you guys are hanging in, and that is not a small feat. I might sit and paint for 5, 6, 8 hours at a shot. For me, that's not unusual. I know to stand up and walk around. I know how to take care of my health. I know how to do a lot of things, so those kinds of sessions are not hard for me. But if you are new to this, that might be really challenging for you. So be sure and, you know, give yourself a little space to rest, recover, eat, do what you got to do. This is not a race. This is definitely a marathon. Detailed paintings. Paintings with a lot of attention in the detail spaces. Adding a little bit more white to that. So over here I've been working, in this range I've got a little Mars Black and Phthalo Blue. And over here I've been working Mars Black and Burnt Sienna and Yellow Ochre. You can see I brought over some quinacridone wine mix from earlier, and I keep adding in white. So that's the mix that's happening here. I'm sure I'm leaning in. Oh, wow. I must have been blocking the whole thing the whole time.
I think over the top.
Okay. Sometimes that'll happen. That's why John be here. And again, anywhere that I've got to push that back more into shadow, that's not a problem for me. I'm loving this today. Usually I don't know, I guess like kind of dancing between, let's grab a little of this yellow ochre and the burnt sienna over here. You know, sometimes with, I think I need a little white in that one. With this process, it's like so fun to see certain things come together. And bring a little bit of that to the fore of, notice that right here? The fore of where the whiskers go. Little bit of this gold there. Smudgy, smudgy, my friends. Smudgy, smudgy. And then a little more white. Let's bring a little white over here. Being just very light, and what I'm wanting to do is sort of find the shape around the muzzle. Man, there are days I just love being me. Okay.
I love that cat. That's a good looking cat.
It's a good looking cat, right? Just not, this is not making me sad, man. I don't know why I brought that there. I'm going to wipe that away. I don't like it. That'll happen sometimes too, where I'm like, I don't know why I did that there. That's going to make me uncomfortable. For sure. But I'm really liking the shaping of the face and everything. Let's call this a step. I think that's a good step. I don't know that I need to dry anything. I do want to kind of do a little more fur work before I come in and do like crazy details. So I think I'm going to go into my grainer. This is a filbert grainer. It's basically it's like a grass comb or rake, except that instead of having evenly dispersed little chunks missed out, they trim the edges of this. And so there's little hairs. So I'll show you what it's supposed to look like when it's working. Now here's the trick. You got to add a little more water. I'll use black to get the brush's effect. It can't be in the thick paint. See how it does? It gives you a fur effect. Let's do that again. I got my brush wet. I thinned my black. You can see the load. That's fur. If I add a little more water to it, oh, this is my low water. I think I got that water overly low in the front compartment. So I've been like dipping for water, but not getting any. You can see as I add more water, it will offload more paint. That is the technique. And you can see why that gives us a really good, soft fur experience. Maybe, hopefully. Let's hope so.
I think so.
Gonna go ahead and work it into my white. I'll go ahead and take my, I like my fluid white for my filbert grainer just a little more. And that is because, look at that. Crazy. It is already like ready to flow. I might even get some glazing medium in here because I want it to be fluid. I don't want it to be drying on me because that'll work against the grainer. So it's about finding a balance between there we go. That's nice over the ears. Even though I'm going to push that all back in shadow, guys, I still want it to look good.
Mm-hmm.
Back into my brown. Now, I am going to probably glaze this side of the face and not color back and do all those things for sure. But by having these details over here, before I even do that, it creates, look at this kitty. Like, I know I'm doing good when I know I've got a painting the kids are going to fight over.
Yeah.
I don't like my kids to fight over artwork, and I just give them whatever they want. But whenever I do a painting where everyone is going to say I want that one, then I know I've nailed it. Oh. The up head is struggling to stay charged. Is it still plugged in?
Should be. I'll double check it.
Okay. I can still see that on my phone if it all goes down.
Everything seems to be plugged in.
So I'm going to just add a little bit of white there. Let's take a little bit of that fluid.
Live is a series of technical challenges.
So I've added a little fluid white to this so that I can lighten and darken easier. See? How fussy am I? So fussy, so fussy, fussy. How fussy is your painting? So fussy, so fussy. How fussy is your painting? It's so fussy. I don't know why I'm excited about that. You were just adding little highlights, little guard hairs of the tortitude. You gotta love the tortitude on the tortie.
Yeah.
Now I can go over into my yellow ochre anytime. Close to my... But I can pop a highlight, right? So perfect. I added a little brown there and see how that created just some dimensionality?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, and people are like, they oil paint because they can't get blends or they can't control the acrylic. That is about not having a relationship to the material or the medium.
Right.
I don't oil paint a lot because I'm moderately familiar with the medium.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with oil painting. It's just not my primary medium. Like I'm much more versed in watercolor and acrylic, right? But I know it's me. It's not the medium.
Yeah, but it's a fun one that you do play with and may do more.
I do. I like it, and I now say moderately. I used to run around with some really over. You ever have a friend that's just overpowered? They're just like overly good at what they do. And then not only do you have that friend, but you have a whole group of friends which are like at the Marvel level of good at what they do.
Yeah.
So if all your friends are Marvel level oil painters, or they literally work for Disney or Marvel, that's my past. Right? Like, yeah. And you can paint oils. Like, I can paint oils like pretty well, but like stand next to them and you're like, man, I don't even know this medium. So there's also that too, right? Like sometimes we get so familiar that we don't realize that we're quite good when we are, because our friend base is too leveled up. Gotta worry about them friends leveling up. Just adding a little highlight to the top of the paws. I've added white to my color, and I just do it a little bit here. It's not a big, it's easier for me to go subtle. It's there, just knocked back. This is pretty terrific. I mean, okay, now it's gonna get wild and crazy, but first I have to do some detail work, and I have to hope that this brush will let me do it, because I don't have a finer detail in stock right now. Not of my store, of my studio. And I'm now dropping everything off the side. That's what I'm doing today, dropping everything off the side. I just have to remember that they're under here. All right, let's go through this. Now this is going to be, and actually we may do this in 2 stages. Dry everything. We're going to do 1 glaze pass. Then we're going to come back through with white. And then we're going to do another glaze pass because I think trying to fancy glaze around some white, and then it's going to be crazy for us. So let's dry everything, do a glaze.
Okay.
Then do the white. And then we'll move on to our pumpkins and our sticks. We're actually starting to be on the downhill stretch of the painting.
This is going so well. I'm so happy with this cat. Got those eyes, those really cool kitty eyes, and the magic background. I can't wait for the pumpkins to come in. This is such a magical cat. Happy to.
Okie dokie. Now the first thing that I want to do is I want to make sure that I've got a bit of a shadow coming off the hat kind of at an angle. So I'm going to go ahead and get my another round blender because they're so good at this because they really, really do this. And I'm going to take a little bit of my black and maybe my ultramarine blue. And test this here. And that should push it right back into shadow. Now, if I have too much pigment, I just wipe my brush off on a paper towel and I can come back through with glaze and be more subtle with this. See? And now, okay, let's go to the back. See how once I have that, I can control how much the ear pops out of the background. Isn't that wild? I'm going to take a little bit of that right there. Starting to add a shadow right here. See it going? Look at that guy. Glazing. It's a very powerful tool. Not to be abused. I don't know. I don't know how you would abuse it. I suppose you could abuse something, but I don't know how you would. I'm not putting it everywhere, guys. I'm just putting it where I want to push something back into a shadow. See how his hat now has that sort of like, he's casting a shadow overhead. If you have good paint, you can do this with just water. Grab a little bit of my yellow ochre. Just a little bit of rounding of the... Oh man, he's so perfect. I really love it when I like nail a thing and then I nail a thing. All right, I have to dry it. It's incredible. I love it so much. Yeah. It's going on somebody's wall. I don't know who's going on, but it's going on somebody's wall.
This is really, as you guys can all see, we're just enjoying the heck out of this. We'll definitely have Cinnamon after the show, see about getting some different swag stuff up. I'm not sure, Lindsay. That's I'm gonna go back and check some of these questions there. I think these not sure what that's relating to, but I'll try to get to that question here in chat. But thank you guys. This has been fantastic having you guys all here along with us. And this cat is looking pretty fantastic.
Pretty fantastic. So requested all the time. Whiskers. All right.
Oh, lots of love coming in on it.
Whiskers are happening. So first I take my detail around my glaze, a little bit of brown and black, and I am going to just hint. Gosh, guys, just hint. Don't put in big information here. That isn't your friend. Too much, just treat it like a freckle tool. You guys have done any faux freckling? You are ready. You've been training. Right? So that's just not a lot, right? It's a little bit. And now I have to make this decision. Do I wish to Posca the whiskers or do I wish to hand paint them? The truth is, when I hand paint, I often struggle with elements of things, so I probably will Posca, but I do have some, you know, little bits of, we'll see how it goes on the guard hairs. I just, as much as I can, babe, I am minding. I know. There's just very little I can do. I have to be able to see. I know.
No, it's okay. I just was.
No. I know. I said, tell me when I was leaning. I said it. You're just doing what I said. I'm just adding a little bit of these sort of detailed hairs. I might be able to pull it off with the brush. It's behaving. Now I put out fresh, you know, paint though, so that does help me. Yeah, that does help me. I'm going to tap here up and down a little bit. Can you see that there? Like a little tap up and down. I'm going to grab a little bit of pure white. Let's make sure everything is looking good. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and get just a little more of the under eye color here. That just lost a little bit of the line. He's just perfect. I'm trying. It's okay to tell me though, because it does remind me to pull back so I don't lean as far in. I'm really thinking and mindful about how much I'm leaning. There we go. Just a little bit of soft guard hair there, I feel like. And then kind of over here, I'm going to take a little bit of my cad yellow and my cad red, my glazing medium for sure, and more cad yellow. A little burnt sienna. And I'll take it here, so it's sort of in my fur mixture, but it's got that whole lightning thing. I'm going to come through here, up into the hat just a little. Notice that I'm adding a little halo glow. Yeah. Gives them a little bit of a glow. Just a nice glow around that back side. That's how you get that. Isn't that wild? Did you even know it was going to be that much fun? I bet not. Now, the trick, I may have to move the canvas and stuff to do the whiskers, and I will try to do it brush. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tip my hat this way. Maybe even a little bit at an angle. What am I doing? I'm trying to get my strongest arc.
Can we go to new step?
Yeah, new step. We're going to want our 24 steps. I almost just burst out laughing. I'm going to do such a light load on my detail brush. You can see how light it is. I'm going to come here. It's just a light, oof, such a thing. Hard to do, my friends. But at the point you've opted in for this cat, you've accepted that whiskers are a part of it, so... Gotta rinse out every once in a while. Make sure there's no drop back into the fluid paint. It's a whole thing. I'm gonna come over here, right? I'll even add some of the eye whiskers that you might have. Do I know that I have to glaze them out? Oh yeah. But you can see we're getting them in. It's just getting them in. Now I definitely will have to use glazing as a way to get a handle on that. I do find it is just easier to get them painted in and then, you know, try to glaze it. I know this is a whole thing for you. There we go. We were doing pretty good. Now we got some whiskers on here. I'll come back into my little whisker world. Just making sure that those are, you still see the seeding of the whiskers. I'm loving it. I'm loving it. All right, let's dry everything. I'll show you how to, so the light and thick lines, if they are all okay, the light and thick lines will make them lighter or darker, right? If they're too bright, you want to dry it. Well, sometimes the white is just too white.
Okay. I like, so I'm going to come back over here and look at this guy's face. He's really cute. I like it. Looking pretty cool. This guy. All right.
So you can always like grab your little...
Is this another step?
Yeah, well, we're glazing this. Now, let's finish the whiskers with this step.
Okay.
I've made a little black and blue, and I'm going to just come here and go over the fronts of these and see how that blends them. That way they're not just white dots sticking out of your kitty.
I see what you mean. Yeah.
So that's how you keep that from being like too much. And then since you have some that are full and some that are not, you're going to want to come here and highlight some of them. Like see where it's just some of them have lights on, like it's just a little, I don't know, it's a little extra magic when you start to do things like, well, I'm just gonna highlight some of my whiskers, showing that, you know, dappled light is down here. And then anywhere I'm like, oh, I feel like that was just a little too much, I just push it back. So it can be in and out of shadow and working. Oh my goodness. That's fantastic. New step. I don't know if it's a new step. I got to put a little leaf in front.
We can do a new step.
I'm going to take a little bit of my cad red over to my magenta. That's okay if a little Doc's purple gets in it. I'm going to add a little stem. All right, so now that leaf is bent over the front. We could not really and shouldn't really paint it until we get here, you know, because it just gets overwhelming. I'm going to add a little bit of yellow to my red. And add just enough highlighting. Couple places for it to feel like, oh, well, like a little bit of light caught you. See how that's doing? And then a lot of red, a lot of yellow. All right. And there we have the little bits of highlighted lighting and any of that. I'm also, while I'm here, going to take a little bit of my white before it's fully dry. And I am going to add a little bit of bright light to see if I like that. Because I like the sparkly lights in the background. I just want to make sure I don't lose that.
Yeah.
I can even do that tapping. Make it blended. Less intense. But that way there's those spots that are just perfect. So we have whiskers that are in yeah, I just covered it all. Whiskers and dappled light, all of that. Well, I've got this set of colors here. I think I'm just going to go into this for a minute. Come here and paint in my pumpkins. I'm using my cad red, quinacridone magenta, and I don't really need to paint like to the bottom because I've got twigs and things that are going to be in front. So this is just starting to think about it. And then I can always just kind of come into some black and look, just blend it through. So before I even put my twigs in, I've got nice lighting already going on my pumpkin, don't I? Nice round one there. Add a little more cad red to it this time. And I'll just paint a general pumpkin shape. And even this, where you just kind of wiggle it and dry brush it and let it blend into the background, creates a type of shading, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just about knowing where things are. I'm going to add a little black for the stem. Just a hint of a curl, a couple of different directions.
Yep.
All right. All right, which step are we on? How long have we been on this step?
25. We're on step 25.
How long have we been on this step?
For a minute or 2 or 3 when we started the pumpkins, I think.
Oh, okay, then let's stay here.
I think we could stick it out.
I'm adding a little burnt sienna. Well, I just don't think we should move on yet. I'm not ready to move on yet, sir.
Not ready.
Now I'm going to take a little bit of my yellow over to my original pumpkin mix. And I'm going to just begin to brush out the highlights. Right? Wet into wet. Just brushing it down. Just waiting for it to begin. Now I'm going to dry everything. Dry everything.
Dry it all.
We can see it. We know where it
Looks
is.
good.
We got to dry everything.
Wow, it's so close. So, thank you guys for staying with us today. This has been a big painting. It's been an exciting big little cat, magic cat day. So if cats are your thing, this is a good painting to do, because it's been cat-tastic. What did the pumpkins? I think that Luna's going to steal this one. I have a feeling that this pumpkin patch cat is going to find a home, and you know, she'll fight it with the ferocity of a warrior cat to defend it. Just my gut says that. Don't you think that Luna's going to defend this one with the fire of
1,000 suns? Yeah.
Or a warrior cat, perhaps?
Yes. The warrior cat is absolutely going to defend this. So
pumpkin,
I took my Mars.
This pumpkin patch cat.
This is how into warrior cats my kid is. There is a notebook full of healing facts of every kind of illness that can happen to a warrior cat, and all of the canon ways to heal it if you're a healing cat from the warrior cat books. And it's thick, and there's illustrations. That's just for the role playing, and that kid is 11. All right, so I've taken a little bit of my Mars Black and my burnt sienna and my ultramarine blue, and I'm going to grab some glazing medium, and I'm going to come here and kind of push this a little bit into shadow, a little more. Can you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Not away, not gone, just a little more into shadow. And you can keep pushing things into shadow as long as you want or as long as you need. Now I'm going to take my round and my black. And I'm going to come over here.
What are you doing over there?
I'm going to hold my brush kind of vertically, and I'm going to try to wander a twiggy looking twig.
Let me see what you do this twiggy thing. Why is it so dark over there?
I need more paint. Twigs. That's not bad.
Yeah.
And what I'm doing on here is just sort of thinking about the bow that's here. A lot of it is in such dark value that you don't really see it.
Mm.
More water, I think. So as you're painting, your paint becomes like, I don't know, less buttery.
Yeah, it gets a little thicker.
Yeah, it starts to thicken up. It starts to cure.
Sure.
Now, also back here, take a little bit of black and brown, but not so much black.
It's a powerful cat.
It's a power. The cat is powerful. Adding some distant little. See, this is like straw or dried, cool, witchy things. Okay, I'm thinking I love this one even better.
I love this.
This has gotten even better. I love it when they get even better. The honest truth is that sitting and even digitally working through something once does help you when you come back. You know? Now, while this is all having a dry, I'm going to go ahead and grab a little of my cad red, my cad yellow, but there was some burnt sienna kind of here. So that is going to, let's grab some glazing medium.
Oh, that looks nice.
And then we'll kind of wipe that out, and that way I can kind of blend that around as well. We'll wipe that out. I'm going to just use water this time. You see how I can just use water?
Yeah. It's fantastic.
But I have pro paint, so yeah, I can just use water. Back to my kind of pumpkin one color, which was quinacridone, cad red, dox purple, and sometimes a little bit of yellow. Just making sure that there's good shading. Get a little more yellow over here. Can see that I'm just sort of blending here.
Yeah.
Just starting to see highlights and shadows, aren't we?
Yeah.
Now I'm going to take a little black and brown over to my pumpkin color.
Detailing out those pumpkins.
Give them some little ridges. So by taking my black and brown over to my pumpkin color and tinting it that way, I'm able to create shadow with what's called localized color. It's instead of just glazing with a dark shadow, right? A single uniform color, you're using the colors that are present naturally and organically to create the feeling.
I like that pumpkin.
Isn't that pumpkin just a delightful little pumpkin?
It is a delightful little pumpkin.
I can kind of come here and add a little bit of brown to the stem. And then I'm going to come over to my yellow ochre and my white. Adding a little highlight there. And a little highlight there. Look, Glazing me, pick it up, and I'm going to kind of think about a little highlight here. Definitely think about one here. Just working that around. That doesn't look terrible.
Not at all.
Not at all. Now, I have got to do wood. So I'm going to take my cad red and my cad yellow. Make it orange. Add a brown. Let's start to find little bits of stems. Well, we can highlight. Make a little kind of under the radar leaves. And again, we're going to glaze a lot of this back into the distance. Okay, so it's okay that it's here the way that it is, because when we come back and glaze, it does let us like create a lot of detail and then put that detail in the distance. And come right here, a little bit of yellow.
Whoops. There we go.
Maybe a little more yellow. Sometimes I will roll out the brush or get glazing medium just to improve the flow of the paint.
Oh, yeah.
And just dance a little bit of the highlighting down. Can even use a little bit of my fluid white. And listen, I don't want you to be worried about any of this here, because we're going to come back and glaze it. Now, there's going to be some Yahoo that will say something crazy like, glazing is cheating.
Okay, I've not heard that one.
Oh,
Why?
I heard that.
Why?
I think any technique where you're not just seeking a value resolution feels like cheating to some people. And then also,
I don't even. That's so
some
weird.
people in their own personal art practice have goals, which is totally cool. And as long as they recognize those are their personal goals and do not reflect the goals of everyone around them, it's okay. Just painting this as I'm going. I'm adding little bits here, and you'll notice that there's orange on my brush. So what that lets me do is create, again, the little artful implications of leaves that are not actually leaves. Add a little more red to my brush. I don't mind. So I'm just pushing that back there. This is like little bits of magic that are around kitten pants here. Little bits of kitten. I'm putting some kitten magic over here. This is just those little colors mixed, and I'm just making sure that as I put stuff out, gotta go over to the there.
Oh, sorry.
I'm taking John's hot cutaway. I'm just wanting to push some little focal bits over here as well. Dry brushing the color down here and around is never gonna hurt us.
No, not gonna hurt it.
Not gonna hurt it. Just make it going around, getting everything, getting everybody, getting little bits of color for everybody.
Yeah, and the beginning course that's available on our website school is totally walks you through all the beginning stuff. So yeah, you go check that out.
Rinsing out for a second. We're nearly done, guys.
It's really cool.
Gonna take a little bit of my burnt sienna and ultramarine blue. Do you want to know something funny?
What's that?
I didn't use any phthalo green.
You didn't what?
Use any phthalo green.
Oh, that green was just there.
It's just there. I'm real sorry for that.
Okay.
Usually I'm like dead on, but I guess I saw it and then didn't use it, so.
Was it
It
extra green?
happens. I'm using a little bit of my blue and brown and white, and what I'm doing is I'm creating the tops of branches, and I can just come right on in and like go darker with the brown. I find generally that when I'm painting loose, like underbrush and things, that less is better. Let the person fill in some of what they think they're seeing. And I'm going to take a little bit of a fluid and I'm going to come over here. Maybe a little more white and a little more brown. Now I probably will push that back as well, just because it's just more than I want.
Yeah.
I'm going to take a little bit of my quinacridone and my cad red. And head over towards my yellow. Now I'm going to come here and just think about, maybe I'll just give this one a chicken foot.
Okay. I like it.
Come over here to my brown and black just real quick. Come back the stem. And you'll notice that pulls it a little more into the light.
Yeah.
Adding a little yellow there. So that's just adding highlights to it. I will sometimes come back through here and add some other colors because it's like, well, anytime nature does something, I'm allowed to editorialize, I guess.
Yeah.
I feel like even with like gestural fall leaves, it's very important to keep them spiky. I have a bunch of videos I made because I knew how much we were going to be doing of notice I'm going to be very light, almost dry brushing with this, and that's also going to help push that into the distance. When I'm light with it, it does push it into the distance. Yeah, I think that's a amount of leaves. That is the number that I want. I'm going to grab a little bit of my white. I'm in my yellow. And I don't mind if it picks up some red. Add some little tips, some little sunlight that hits these. See how we just sort of create more dimensionality. A little bit of light on that one. Now I will push some of that back in a second. For sure. What I'm going to want to do is, I think I am ready to draw it.
To draw.
I think I'm ready. I think I'm also like, I feel like I painted the cat today. So I think we're down to glazing and signing. I think we did it.
I think we were pretty good, yeah. This is such a cat. This has been fantastic. You guys, thank you for joining us with this all thing. Yes, I think that this is quite the cat. We've really enjoyed doing this. Thank you guys for hanging out and being part of this. Yes, I think that we do have oh, she's using a Stay Wet palette. That is what she's using over there, and there are.
We don't get to out yet. We have a very important twig we have to put back.
Oh, your new twigging.
I have a new twig I have to do. Okay. Yeah, because it just layered in some of the.
Okay.
Painting, and I don't want to.
Don't mind.
Miss it.
We're not gonna.
I'm going to take a little brown. You can see me coming in here with a little brown. I'm just trying to make sure that I've got a little, grab a little bit of my highlight. I feel like that sort of explains that there's like, want to make sure it feels like a litter of leaves down here and things. And I'll put that all back in shadow. So I'll dry that again. We're not changing steps. I'm drying that again.
A few more. think she's gonna add a couple more. I like the light that she added there in front of the cat. I think that was really cool myself. And I don't think that it's going to take very long at all for this to wrap up, as they say. Okay.
Now I'm going to glaze.
All right.
I'm going to take my big brush and I'll put out some more glazing medium, and I want cool colors in here, and I kind of glaze a little warmer out there. And what that basically means is that shadows will register as cool colors. But even with shadows, there'll be some shadows that are warmer and some shadows that are cooler, and that's why this underpainting then with the glaze works so well. Because it handles those like little moments. I'm going to grab a little bit of purple and blue, and I might even add a little magenta into it. And then glaze. So I barely have any on my brush, and that will let me come down here and notice what I'm doing. How that just pushed all that back.
Wow, that was cool. That's just, you're just kind of brushing that lightly there.
Yeah, very lightly. Too much pigment on it. I come in, I wipe my brush off on the towel. And now suddenly, even these down here, yeah, they're bright. You see them. I don't want that paw covered up as much as I did, so I'm rinsing my brush before my glaze is dried. And subtracting a little bit. See how I'm able to do? It doesn't ever bring it back to full. But that way, your shadows are a little more integrated. And I'm putting a little bit of extra shadow between the pumpkins. And I might even come here. A little magenta, a purple. And see, that puts two shadows on that. I can always take my yellow and glaze back those white highlights so they're not so saturated. Oh gosh, they'll still really register and they'll glow. That white that's then painted glows. That is another way to get glow. It's another way to do it. It's a good way too.
I like this. This is so amazing.
And take a little bit of my burgundy color from earlier. Make sure there's just barely on here, and tip that back a little bit too.
Oh, yeah.
A little bit. Let that go. I'm just really pleased, guys.
This is really nice.
Yeah, I'm super happy. I hope you're happy. I hope you learned a lot about acrylic painting and mediums and tools that are available to you.
I know.
I'm going to get a little dark purple and white together in my detail brush. Assign this one in purple that way. Look at that.
That's so cool.
Now, this is where we're at. I'm going to have to pick so many brushes up off the floor.
That's okay. We'll do that later.
I think I need a brush bucket over here.
Probably.
All right. So we've got this gorgeous baby, right? Let's just know what we've done so far for the 13 days of Halloween. Because Tuesday will be, there is a premiere tomorrow. It's 5 minutes. Come by on Sunday, see it. If you're painting rocks this year for your own garden decor, you got to see it. It doesn't even have a word in it. It's 5 minutes. You'll be like, oh, I know how to paint rocks. I know everything that's really important about that, including which sealant you need. And so it's a lot of fun. It's goofy. It's a re-release. Now, we have painted, this was our first 13 days of Halloween.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so that's available to paint right now.
Right now.
I don't remember them in order. And then I know we did this one.
Yep.
Jack, he's doing so well. I know we got the shark. I mean, you know, at first no one was super excited about Mr. Shark, but then all these little boys were like, Mom, will you paint me something? Grandma, will you paint me something? So this worked out super perfect. Then I did the ghosts dancing in the autumn forest. You guys are doing so great.
Mm-hmm.
We got the ghost flame.
Yes.
You go boo. And then, of course, the other big one that I've got actually photographed today with this kitty. God is calling down the water.
That's so nice.
So we are just doing so good, and we are going through and we're learning all these techniques, and we are meeting. We're going to have 13 brand new Halloween paintings for the 13 days of Halloween. Guess what? There are like 60. I have 5, 6, 7 playlists for Halloween. There are like 60 Halloween themed paintings. Lots of them are 1 hoot, 2 hoots. In fact, most years that's where we live. This is our first year. We're going to do some deep holiday ones like this as well for Christmas and stuff.
Yeah.
So this is our first year where we're like, come on, let's 3 hoot it up. So you've got 60 1 and 2 hoot paintings that are so cute and adorable. Search Pumpkin Man, the Art Sherpa, Squeal, Enjoy. There's 7 days of shark paintings. That's Shark Week. If you go the Art Sherpa Shark Week, you'll pull up a bunch of stuff. I have so much stuff for this. The crow probably will be not this challenging, but it's definitely 3 hoot too. My bat fox creature.
Yeah.
Was I inspired by art dolls? You guys asked. Yeah, I've been watching this art doll maker, and she's just like, she's so funny. I'll make sure I have her name like there, and she does all these crazy like little fox creature things.
Yeah.
And she has a magnet that makes the fur stand up, and she made some little, I don't know, moss rocks. Luna turned me on to it. Girl's super funny. I'm gonna learn her name. May even reach out for collaboration someday, because I think she's just so fantastic. But that was sort of like I've been like admiring the $1,500 and $10,000 posable repositional ball joint dolls.
Yeah.
And so if you're a ball joint doll art maker, and you thought that my fox bat design was amazing, and you wanted to make a ball joint art doll, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that. Just send me a picture. Just send me a picture. That's all I want. If you make this kitty, just send me a picture. And to that end, I want you guys to know that you hanging in with me for these long lessons is everything.
Yeah. That
you still believe in this channel and what we're doing, that you give me 3 days of your time, as some of you do, and that you trust me to learn these techniques. And so many of you are becoming like the most bombastic artists out there. So again, remember, stuff is a little tight. The pennies are a little pinched. You paint some neighbors' pets, this like this, and you make little post-ups that go to your local framing shops that are mom and pop owned.
Mm-hmm.
If there's a mom and pop art store, they might let you do this too. And then you have your pricing all worked out for sizes and commissions, because you don't want to be negotiating. You paint pets, you pay bills. That's why you teach so many pets.
Yeah.
Because I've been a working artist a long time, and you know what I know? You paint pets, you pay bills. You paint portraits, you make people very angry. Unless you're so super good that they're like exactly like that person. But when you paint pets, it's a great way to do commission work. It's the one I like, and so this is why I teach you so many skill. All right, to that end, guys, I want you to be good to yourselves and be good to each other, and I will see you at an easel really soon. Bye-bye.